And the walls kept tumbling down in the city that we love.
And welcome back. Those were the highlights from the first time these two teams met. These two teams met 3 times this season ago. Southern Maine going 1-2 against the Beacons. They did earn a 3-2 overtime win here in Boston, their lone win over the past 2 seasons. So they have a little bit of success and a little bit of confidence coming into the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. Let's look at the team statistics between these two sides, and they show the story of two teams at the top and bottom of the conference. The Beacons with a really impressive 3.80 goals per game. UMass Boston amongst the conference leaders in power play percentage and penalty kill percentage, ranked 5th in the country at 89.3% in the penalty kill. The one area Southern Maine holds a slight edge is the penalty minutes per, 14.7, just a little bit better than the Beacons. Southern Maine has struggled on the season, just 2.23 goals per game and a goals against of nearly 4. But they have been playing a little bit better as of late, especially on the road. 2-2-1 on the road since the middle of January after starting the season 0-6. We'll see if it pays off today in the return trip to Boston. Looking at the team leaders, it kind of shows that similar story of the Beacons having the better team on paper. Nolan Redler, the New England Hockey Conference Co-Player of the Year. That was announced on Thursday. Redler, 14 goals, 19 assists, and 33 points, leads the Beacons in all 3 categories. Zack Bross, a third-team all-conference player, sits tied for second on the team with his 9 goals. Nick Albano, who's tied for second on the team in points with Bross, was also a first-team all-conference nominee. The Beacons had 5 total conference honorees. On the first team, it was Albano and Redler. On the third team, it was Bross, Captain Gage Chuckrin, a defenseman, and Bailey MacBurnie, the Beacons netminder. On the other side, for Southern Maine, it's going to be a lot of that top line that we're going to talk about today. Cody Braga leads the team with 9 goals alongside Captain Tyler Matthew. Adam Withers will be alongside Braga and Michael Green on the top line. 3 of their top 4 scorers. Maverick Lyons, a defenseman, is second on the team with 10 assists, and Withers and Braga 1 and 2 with 16 and 15 points respectively. Right now we're going to take a moment to get an interview with head coach Peter Belisle. Had a chance to talk to him on Wednesday, and we got a preview of not only how the Beacons did last weekend, but what they need to do today to knock off the ace-seeded Huskies.
Certainly, proud of the group from the weekend. Friday night's game, with a chance to clinch the league, and not being able to do it that previous weekend when you're 6 seconds away from doing it can make you think. And I was proud that even though we didn't get the result on Friday night, the boys came back and they played hard on Saturday, and ultimately I think the seniors pulled together and were able to pull it out. You have, 5 teams ranked in the top 15 of the country. To win the league is certainly a heck of an honor. It's a testament to our men that had to battle every game to finish up on top. There's no easy games in this league, as you know, and certainly proud of the boys for getting us to this point in great position. But now, it's a whole new season. It was great to get them going. You knew you couldn't keep, them off the score sheet for long, and it was a matter of time before, I don't think Nick had scored in a while, and I know that was kind of getting to him, and, for him to get that one and was awesome. And I think, Redler's been scoring at a pretty good clip, but he was kind of cold for the last couple games, and for him to have that outburst was awesome. And, Zack Bross has been a great 200-foot player. He's certainly just as important as he is last year. He might not have the points that he had last year when he was playing with Larkin, but we've moved him to center, and he's been phenomenal. And he's been, he's having to play more of a defensive game. We're using him more on penalty kill, and he's just kind of expanded his game that way, but which may not show on the score sheet. Special teams is humongous in the, especially in the playoffs. We were joking, before going into that weekend, we've always had a pretty good power play percentage, and our power play hasn't been doing that great. And it was just a pleasant, not surprise. We knew we had it in us, but it was great to explode and have some success on the power play from essentially just really keeping it simple, getting it to the net. And, as you know, our penalty kill has been fantastic all year long. Corey Schneider, our assistant coach, is doing an incredible job with our PK. I think the last time we looked, I think we were tops in the country. So that's a credit to him and the guys buying in. And your best penalty killer has to be your goaltender, and that's certainly Bailey MacBurnie. But the group in front of him has done a fantastic job on the PK side of things. And now if we get the power play hopefully clicking a little bit better, that could be a good recipe for success, hopefully. I think the guys want to make it a tough place to play. It's our home rink. They know the ice. They know the locker room. They know the little, nuances of playing at home, and they're comfortable with it, and they enjoy it, and they make it a tough place to play. So that's a credit to them, and it's great. We don't have to get on a bus, but the minute that puck drop, it doesn't matter where we play, if we're at home or not. But we're going to use that to our advantage for sure, because I think the guys. They gain that right, and we enjoy playing at home. Of course we do. Well, they're going to work extremely hard. Coach Harding will have those guys working extremely hard. We're going to have to match that. And they've got nothing to lose. So they've got there's no pressure really on them. It's the 1-8 game. They're going to throw everything at us, and we have the pressure on us to execute and hopefully outplay them in our home building. But they're going to, like I said, every game is difficult, and Southern Maine is going to be a difficult hockey game, and we've got to be prepared for that. It's everything in the playoffs. Discipline will be crucial. We've been working on that all year. We play on the edge a bit, but playing on the edge, but playing within the rules has been something. When we are playing well, we find a way to balance that, and that's what we really have to do. We cannot, get off of our game. We have to play our game, play intense, but play within the rules, and we can't get thrown off our game. It's a one-and-done format. You don't have time.
The 5-campus UMass system is the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Just finished the national anthem. Let's take a look at our goalie matchup graphic. A little bit of an interesting choice by Ed Harding going with Paul Leger, but the junior out of Plainville, Quebec has been very good as of late. Over his last 3 starts, 2-1 with a 2.33 goals against average and .918 save percentage. He was the goalie who got the start in that crucial win last Friday against Castleton. They went with Anthony Delosio, their 1A choice against Norwich. Got roughed up a little bit. We could see Delosio if Southern Maine decides that Leger needs to come out. Bailey MacBurnie, a third-team all-conference player, has been phenomenal all season long. 2-0 this year against Southern Maine. He's been dominant here at home, a goals against average of under 2. Let's take a quick look at our player to watch. It's pretty easy when you have the New England Hockey Conference co-player of the year, Nolan Redler, 4 goals and 6 total points last Saturday against Babson. Needs 1 point today to become the 17th player in program history to reach 100 career points. He'd be the 4th in 5 seasons for UMass Boston. While we have a moment, let's quickly take a look at the keys to the game as UMass Boston huddles up around their bench. Get off to a strong start. Both of these teams statistically have been best in the first period. It would go a long way for either side if they could take an advantage into the first intermission. Need to stay disciplined. Both teams right around 15 penalty minutes. Seen some big, chippy games over the years, and don't let Southern Maine stick around as the top seed. You want to get out there and get off to a strong start in the NEHC tournament. The Beacons have never lost as the number 1 seed in the conference tournament, 5-0 all time. UMass Boston, their home whites with the blue pants and blue trim, wins the opening face-off, immediately dumps it in. Southern Maine in the navy blues with the white numbers and yellow trim. It's the Beacons going from left to right. They send out their second line, that's been their top offensive group. Bross, Redler, and Ethan Nicken, the freshman out of Miami Beach, Florida, alongside Chukrin and Albano. For Southern Maine, they send out the fourth line. Mark Tomaszek, Derek Tillotson, and Matthew Smith, alongside Jesse Kestenbaum and Brock Padgham. Chance in tight, and Redler has his shot denied, and then an immediate chance from Bross, but he couldn't poke the rebound through. You see the pushing and shoving. Remember, these games have been very chippy and very physical the last couple of years between these two sides. So we'll take a quick look at that early chance for Nolan Redler, sitting on 99 career points. You know, he wanted to get it early in this one, and there's the shot and a good save from Paul Leger, junior out of Blainville, Quebec, 5'11", 200. Faceoff comes from the near dot. The Beacons going with the top line of Sanapass, Nakbar, and Peters. Won by Nakbar. UMass Boston had to make some changes. Tyler Sifferlin, who was on the top line last week, is currently in a cast, might be able to return this season, but UMass Boston having to make some changes. Sanapass, who has played with Nakbar for most of the season, moves back to the top line, and Jack Riley is in on the fourth line after sitting out the last 9 games. Southern Maine able to clear the zone, but not much more. It's John Regnard who's able to get it past a pair of Husky sticks, but the pass out of the reach of Nakbar. Dumped in there by Adam Withers, top line out there for Southern Maine for the first time. Withers, the team's leader in points and assists with 11 and 16. He's out there with Michael Green, who has 13 points, and Cody Braga, who has 9 goals and 15 points. That top line has been Southern Maine's best offensively, and it's a group that has not played a ton together, but Ed Harding trying to get a little bit more offense going against one of the top offenses in the entire nation. Brian Carter with speed, able to get around one player, and he'll look to lead the charge. Has 2 options to his left. Carter, the shot is deflected in behind Skinner, and Southern Maine will go the other way with speed. It's Connor Ferreira who takes a quick shot. McBurney unable to hold on to the rebound, and then it's tipped wide by the Hobart transfer, Colin Merrill. Beacon's third line today, all freshmen. Jeffrey Skinner and Stevie Bryant, joined by Evan Roviak, who moves up 1 spot from the fourth line right wing to the third. Centering pass comes all the way out of the zone, and Nick Albano will have to retreat and gets it from his fellow Beverly native, Bailey MacBurnie. 2+ minutes into the first period, still scoreless here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink. Albano gains the zone, tries to get around the defender there. That's Maverick Lines. Lost it, but Roviak provides support behind. Southern Maine comes away with the puck. Working with it is Adam Papianu. Papianu across for Fuller. Fuller able to gain the neutral zone, and he'll dish it off in front as there's a hard shot from distance from Lines that McBurney easily is able to knock towards the boards. Fourth line out there for the first time for UMass Boston. That group today, Dakota Keene, Jack Riley, and David McGregor, one of 2 Beacons making their 100th career appearance. He and Garrett Gallagher, the 12th and 13th players in program history to appear in 100 and more games as a UMass Boston player. Dumped in behind the net, it'll be Albano. Albano absorbs a big hit, but the puck stays right at his feet. He's able to collect. Good work on the forecheck pressure from Mark Tomaszek, but eventually the Beacons get away with it. Here comes Chukrin playing in his 107th game. It's handled by Lezay, and we'll get a stoppage. For Chukrin, with his 107 games, he ties Tyler Bishop and Frankie Augustine, pair of upperclassmen when he was a freshman, for second all-time in program history in games played. Colin Larkin, last year's captain, the only player who's played in more games than Chukrin, Bishop, and Augustine. He played in 111. Beacon's starting line back out there for the second time. Bross unable to win the faceoff. Nicken absorbs some big shoulder-to-shoulder contact from Cody Braga, and Southern Maine able to come away with it. It's Oscar Bergstrom, the freshman out of Sweden, who absorbs an elbow to the head from Redler, no call. Up top, it's Regnard, dishes off for Gallagher, who gets nothing behind the shot. And the Beacons will chase behind the net. Bross getting a lot of contact around the head from Colin Merrill, who won't let go. He got his stick tangled in with the body. Going the other way is Green. Green dishes it off for Braga. High shot, just missed near post. Keeping in the zone is Lines, straight to the tape of Withers. Good shift thus far from the top line for Southern Maine. Gallagher comes away with it, wearing the A for UMass Boston today. Earned the assistant captain role midway through the season, and has provided some strong leadership alongside his fellow Philadelphia Little Flyer Gabe Chukrin on a Beacons team that features 10 seniors. John Regnard all the way to the red line for Peters, and then the pass for Redler, couldn't quite handle it. Southern Maine will look to take advantage. It's Sanderson And a quick shot from the far circle and another save from MacBurnie, and he holds on. Almost 4.5 gone by here in the first period. Still tied at 0. My name is Seth Dorensky, bringing the action solo tonight. Matt Meisenbacher, our typical color commentator. He's just across the way in East Boston as he is taking in the Beacons women's hockey game. They'll start in about 20 minutes as the 7-seeded Beacons will travel to number 2 Suffolk in the first round of the women's hockey tournament in the NEHC. Behind the net, Nakbar trying to push it across for Sanapass. Sanapass right back for Nakbar, who probably the Beacons' lone omission from the conference, all-conference honorees. Was one of the Beacons' best players for most of the season, but he has been quiet as of late. Nakbar, the junior out of Richland, Washington, with just 1 point in his last 5. Southern Maine tries to break out, but it's knocked down on the intended pass for Tyler Gardner. Shot from Nakbar goes right up into the chin area of Ferreira, and then the centering feed will go off the skate of a Husky, and it's covered up by Leger. 5:01 gone in period number 1. UMass Boston's had the majority of the chances, but Southern Maine's had 1 or 2. No goals, no penalties, and fortunately no injuries. In the draw, it'll be Tyler Matthew versus Stevie Bryant. The third-year captain for Southern Maine, Matthew, senior out of Stillwater Lake, Nova Scotia. This Southern Maine team has about a half dozen to a dozen Canadians on their roster from all over Canada, east and west. Centering feed is knocked down as Merrill, the defenseman, got a shot off from the top of the slot, but Beacon stepped in front of it. Now the feed out top, a good one. Fuller looking for an option, has a player in front, that's Matthew, but didn't have a lane, and it's sent up into the netting off the stick of a Beacon, and we'll get an offensive zone draw for the Huskies. Southern Maine this year has been by far at their best in first periods. The Huskies are -6 in goal differential in the first, -15 in the second, and -18 in the third. Shows both offensively and defensively. They scored 22 goals in the first, 20 in the second, 16 in the third. They've also given up just 28 goals in the first versus 35 and 34 in the second and third. After a little bit of a break, the Beacons will win the draw. Roviak, a dangerous pass all the way across for Skinner, and now right back for Roviak off the wall. This third line is the Beacons' freshman line. They have 10 seniors and 10 freshmen, and the freshmen have been very good. Roviak looking for an option, sends it in front, just past the stick of Skinner, and it's easily kicked away by Leger. From the point, that's a shot from Chuckgrain and a glove save, forcing the offensive zone draw, and the Beacons will send out the fourth line as UMass Boston will trust this group to do something with the offensive zone draw. This trio has really not played together much this season. Jack Riley has not played since January the 5th against SUNY Cortland, and David McGregor earned a spot in the top 4 lines against Babson and had an assist the other night, so he keeps that spot. He and Drew Gannon have been switching spots as the fourth line center and the extra skater. Gannon is in the lineup tonight. One of the Beacons' 10 seniors out of Plano, Texas. Centering feed knocked down by a Husky as Leger was trying to get there. Gallagher slows down a player, but a chance for a 2-on-1. Withers with it. That was actually Green, excuse me. Now a Beacon goes head first into the boards. That was Keene, who's not feeling great, but appears to not be too banged up. Here's Riley putting some pressure on Leger. And we'll get a stoppage and an offensive zone draw as we'll take a look at a highlight. Looks like it's the breakout. You see Gallagher on the initial hit, and then Keene's going to go hard into the boards after the save, but we won't get that for you. Beacon's trying to make a change, and they will be allowed to switch their defensive partners. It's Carter and Bono replacing Regnart and Gallagher. UMass Boston going with 5 seniors and a sophomore who was the National Rookie of the Year last season. So pretty good defensive core. Carter able to keep it in the zone off the one draw. Bono trying to deflect that one forward and is able to do so. The second line of Redler, Nicken, and Bross are out there for UMass Boston. Southern Maine trying to get it out of the zone, and they'll do so with Tomaszek sliding across, and now it's dumped in, and we've got a stoppage. And it's either going to be icing, which looks like the call. Thought for a second there might be a penalty behind the play, but it will just be an icing with 13:22 to go. And you see UMass Boston head coach Peter Belisle there sitting on 192 career wins. 2015-16 American Hockey Coaches Association Coach of the Year. He's led the Beacons to 2 regular season titles in the past 4 seasons. They hadn't won a regular season title since 1982. Chance in front, it's Nicken, shoots and scores! Bono the shot from the point, Nicken puts it in, and the Beacons take the 1-0 lead 6 minutes and 44 seconds in. Nicken's 10th goal on the season. Freshman out of Miami Beach, Florida, didn't start the year in the lineup, but he has been red hot and now sits second on the team. Beacons win the draw on Bross, and then it's a soft shot from Bono. It actually looked like it was tipped by Bross, and it's put in by Nicken on the second effort. So Bross should get an assist. Bono may also get an assist, and the Beacons take that all-important 1-0 lead. UMass Boston has been almost unbeatable when scoring first, and they have not lost to a conference foe here at home. So that's the start they wanted. Drop pass for Peters, couldn't quite hold on to it, then Sanapass dropped it in on Leger. Let's take a quick look at that play a second time, maybe at 50%, and see if it was the contact off of Bross. As this is, see, Bross wins the face-off, and it comes all the way back to Bono through the legs of Redler. I don't know if that was meant to be part of the play. It hits off of a Southern Maine player, kick save from Leger, but then Nicken picks up the rebound and gives the Beacons the 1-0 edge. Nakbar in the face-off dot. Sanapass uses the long reach to keep it in. Albano right off the skate of the defenseman. Second effort doesn't get through. There were 5 bodies in front of Leger who had no chance to see that shot. Now it's Nakbar coming over to the blue line and loses it. Good work from Southern Maine's Bartuccio Pereira. Wide open in front. It's Matthew. Backhand shot and he misses. MacBurnie might have gotten a piece, but that is a big break for UMass Boston. Tyler Matthew has the only 2 goals this year for Southern Maine against the Beacons, and he had a great look one-on-one against MacBurnie. Peters leaves it up for Sanapass. Quick shot, and Leger makes the save. And let's take a look at that rebound. Tyler Matthew did not miss by much. The only issue was his backhand move here. It's a great pass originally. Then you see Matthew one-on-one, and it maybe takes him out a little too wide. I think MacBurnie got a small piece of that, so it looks like it slightly changed the angle, but that is a big break for the Beacons. And now a bigger break as we're going to see a penalty called on Southern Maine. Very, very interesting. There's no one now. Well, let's take a look. I think that's Bartuccio Pereira who is in the box. Did not see the call, but the Beacons will go to the power play for the first time. UMass Boston at 20.8% because of a huge day last weekend against Babson. 5 of 7 on the power play, including 4 goals on a major penalty. Southern Maine on the other side, they have been dreadful on the PK the last 2 years. A conference worst 73% last year. This year it's 76.5%. That ranks 72nd in the country out of 83 teams at the Division III level. Bross able to win it back for Albano. Can the Beacons keep their momentum from a week ago on the power play and jump out to an early 2-0 lead? It's Redler up top. Albano scored twice on the power play last week. Nolan Redler added the other 3. Pass down low for Redler. Took a little bit of time collecting that pass. Otherwise, he might have had the angle as Leger was able to slide over and get the shoulder on it. Regnard up top. Leaves it off for Albano. Albano was dominant on the 5-minute major a week ago against Babson. So we've got another penalty, and I believe it's going to be Ethan Nicken. A slashing call, and just like that, we'll go 4-on-4. So Nicken battling out in front. We'll see if we can bring you that replay, as that's going to hurt UMass Boston. The goal scorer will head to the box, and we'll go 4-on-4 for a minute 27, followed by 33 seconds of power play time. A Southern Maine player lost their stick in front. We'll get you that replay at the next whistle. 4-on-4, this probably still benefits the Beacons as they do have the more skilled side. But Southern Maine able to avoid full 2 minutes on the PK. The Beacons trying to collect it. Nakbar couldn't find it amongst his skates. Let's off for Carter, who nearly gives it up in a really bad spot. Padgett was pinching for it. Now the Beacons collect the puck. It's Peters out there with Nakbar, Carter, and Bono. Puck goes right through the stick there of Carter, and it's collected by Colin Merrill, first-year player for Southern Maine after spending his first 2 seasons at fellow NEH school Hobart College. 11:20 to go in the first period. We're skating 4-on-4. After penalties to Bartuccio Pereira and Ethan Nicken for the Beacons. UMass Boston leads 1-0 on Ethan Nickens' 10th goal in the season. He only trails Nolan Redler. Beacon's in the midst of a change. Southern Maine trying to take advantage. It's Withers with it, leaving it just behind there of Maverick Lines. Withers trying to keep it in the zone. It's kicked out, and they're going to say that caught the Beacon's bench. Let's take a look at the penalty on Ethan Nicken, a penalty you don't want to take, and you see he's down and immediately comes up shoulder to shoulder, takes a little whack. Where is the obvious slash? It's right there. Just enough. I mean, we didn't see what caused Nicken to go to the ground. It might have been a bit of retaliation, but it was enough for the referees to send Ethan Nicken, the Beacons freshman, to the bench. 4-on-4 for another 27 seconds, and then Southern Maine will go to the man advantage for 33 seconds, unless they score during those 33 seconds. It's Albano behind the Beacons net, out there with Roviak, Bryant, and Chuckert. A little bit more of a defensive unit as UMass Boston recognizes they're likely to go down to 5-on-4 shortly. Down to 5 seconds left on the original penalty. Dubar Tuccio Pereira. The Beacons dump it in, and now Southern Maine gains possession. 5-on-4 for the first time today for Southern Maine. Their power play, just about 17%, middle of the conference. Behind the net, it's Albano who finds Chuckern. One clearance could be enough. Chuckern has time. He'll rifle it down the length of the ice. Slowed down by Leger, but with 15 seconds, the Huskies are going to have to hustle to get it back into the zone. They don't look to be hustling right now. It's Maverick Lines with it, the sophomore defenseman. A lot of stick handling. Finally over for Green. Green in tight, leaves it across, and it's just behind Matthew. That was a righty. They might have had a slap shot. Back to 5-on-5, but Southern Maine still controls. Chance in front, kicked away by MacBurnie, and the rebound tapped away as a Beacon got his stick on it. It's a great look from Michael Green, who leads the team with 10 power play points. Really good vision to find Matthew just a little bit behind it. Leger thought about coming out. Instead, it's his teammate who clears it all the way into the Beacon's end, where John Regnart, the Anchorage, Alaska native, will chase and collect. Over halfway through this first period, the Beacons lead on Ethan Nickens' goal. Regnart lost control of the puck right at the blue line, but able to slow down Southern Maine. And now the long stretch pass is going to find Redler as a Southern Maine player. That was Kite falling to the ice, able to regain his footing, and at least able to slow down the Beacons as Redler was out in front, still searching for that 100th career point. Has 7 goals and 3 assists in 7 career games against Southern Maine. So certainly you would think he would get there tonight, but Southern Maine has other ideas. Carter dishes it off, has Bross and Bono in the same spot, and eventually the Beacons will get a third player in there, Redler, to come up with the loose puck. Bono tries to feed it over for Bross. It's up into the netting, and it's going to come out of the zone as that was tipped up by a Southern Maine player. 1-0 UMass Boston on Ethan Nickens' 10th of the season. Assist to Zack Bross, which would be his 14th. He had 4 the other day against Babson. And likely John Bono, who has been tremendous in postseason hockey. Bono came into today's game with a team best 6 career points in the NEHC tournament, including 2 goals and 4 assists. He had 3 assists in last year's NEHC tournament, which the Beacons defeated 5th seeded New England College before falling at number 1 Norwich University. Southern Maine with a shot from the circle that's knocked down. The Beacons looking to go the other way. Albano couldn't corral the bouncing puck, and now will leave it off for Stevie Bryant, another one of the Beacons players from the Pacific Northwest. Beacons turn it over in a bad spot. It's Braga coming in at the slot as it tipped away, picked up there by Withers, and his shot is tipped up into the rafters, and we'll get a stoppage as UMass Boston, another one of those leaky turnovers in the neutral zone. They could cause problems, and that's where Southern Maine can get you. They're a very pesky team. They're a team that does not stop working. It'll be Withers and McGregor, top line for Southern Maine, 4th line for the Beacons. Faceoff is won by Southern Maine. Battling in the corner, Regnart working against Green. Regnart looked like he had it for a moment. Those two continue to tussle, joined by McGregor and now Withers. Southern Maine looking to answer back after Ethan Nicken gave the Beacons the lead. About 5 minutes in, chance in tight. MacBurnie trying to stop it, and they'll hold on for dear life along the post. And here's some pushing and shoving. Regnart did not appreciate the late poke at the puck from Michael Green, and now 5 or 6 players are tangled up. UMass Boston not taking any kind of flack in front of their own net. 7:44 to go in the first period here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Number 1, UMass Boston 1. Number 8, University of Southern Maine 0. Southern Maine is trying to score their first goal in a postseason contest in 7 seasons. They have not scored in each of their last 6 games. During that span, Southern Maine has been outscored 27-0. Overall, in their last 7 postseason contests, outscored 30-2. They have not scored since the 2012 ECAC East Quarterfinals when they upset Babson College 6-3. Puck comes all the way through the neutral zone. Bono's going to give chase, has time. Matthew, the lone forechecker. Carter looking for options, right to the tape of Peters. Peters, players to his left and right, finds Sanapass, who knocks it down through traffic, and a kick save from Leger, who threw out the glove, but also able to get that left toe out and avoid giving Sanapass his 3rd goal of the season against Southern Maine. So the Huskies are going to be offside, and we'll see if we can bring you that great play by Sanapass. Unfortunate to not finish it, but did a nice job knocking down the pass from Peters in midair. You see, knocks it down and then able to get inside. Just a really nice kick save from Leger. Got the toe on it. Sanapass in the first meeting this year against Southern Maine had 2 goals here in Boston. Has 4 career goals against the Huskies. We've got a stoppage, and they're going to keep both guys in the faceoff dot. Derek Tillotson, 4th liner for Southern Maine, able to win the faceoff against Bross, the Beacons' 2nd-line center, although that 2nd line is really a 2nd line only in name. They have been the Beacons' best offensively as Bross gets tangled up there with the defenseman, Kestenbaum, who knocks him down, and we're going to see a penalty coming against Kestenbaum. Way too much contact from Jesse Kestenbaum, the freshman out of Montreal, Quebec, who came into this game with 18 penalty minutes, and he's going to pick up 2 more right there. An obvious cross-check, and we're going to see the freshman go to the box for this call. You see Bross right there, and it's just a 2-hand shove, and anytime the player goes down near the boards, it's an almost automatic 2 minutes. Beacons 0 for 1 thus far on the power play, but they only had 33 seconds. We'll see if they can do a little bit more this time around. They'll go with that top unit. Bross, Redler, Nicken, Albano, and Regnart. Bross already with 1 assist in the game, 5 in his last 2 games, and we're not even a full period into this one. Bross unable to win that one clean, but Redler able to get it, sends it all the way through Albano, who's in a foot race here with Connor Ferreira. And good work there from Ferreira, one of 3 seniors. And we're going to get a penalty against Albano, I believe. They're going to call holding the stick on Nick Albano. So the Beacons have had 2 power plays, and they've lasted a combined 42 seconds. So another instance where Southern Maine able to draw the call against the Beacons. It'll be a much more abbreviated power play for Southern Maine this time. But again, UMass Boston unable to do anything on their power play. That's kind of what the Beacons' MO was throughout most of January. And that's a break for Southern Maine as they desperately want to avoid falling behind by multiple goals. Redler pokes it over for Regnard, who gets upended. The Beacons thought that was enough for a trip, but no call. Right now the group is Gallagher, Bross, Redler, and Regnard. The Beacons keep 3 of their power play unit out there, along with Gallagher as one of their best penalty killers. Gallagher up top leaves it for Regnard, who gets a shot off. Not much behind it. An easy kick save for Leger with no traffic in front. Coming over to pick that up is Withers, who slides it across for Merrill. Merrill breaks out with Braga leading it. Dishes off behind Merrill, and it's picked up by Redler. Beacons have a chance for a 3-on-3. Redler into the zone. Dishes it off for Bross, but those 2 weren't on the same page. Merrill closes out on Bross, which allows Regnard to come in and pick it up. Behind the net, it's Redler, down to 57 seconds on the original penalty to Southern Maine. Remember, a 9-second power play will come for Southern Maine at the end of that 4-on-4 session. High shot bounces all the way out, and the Beacons have a 3-on-2. Bross for Bono. Near player is Skinner, and he's offside. So we'll get a draw just outside the Southern Maine defensive zone. 39 seconds to go on the penalty to Kestenbaum. And then a 9-second power play after Albano was called for holding the stick. 5:30 to go in period number 1. UMass Boston leads 1-0 on the goal from Ethan Nickett. Nakbar tried to win the faceoff and go right through a Southern Maine player, only the puck didn't come with it. Bryant, dangerous pass almost out of the reach of Bono, who tries to find Skinner, goes right through him. That was actually Chukrin, 27, not 28. Bryant with it, tries to chip it down low for Nakbar. Daniel Nakbar, one of the Beacon's leaders in points, despite the fact he only has one of the last 5 games. And here comes MacBurnie well out of his net to corral that puck after the Beacons weren't able to connect. MacBurnie off the boards right to the foot there of Keene. Could have been whistled for too many men if the Beacons weren't so effective there on the change. Very precise. 5-on-4 for Southern Maine for the next 9 seconds, but the Beacons are in the zone, and they're going to try to keep Southern Maine there. As Keene's pass just out of the reach of Chukrin. About to go back to 5-on-5 as it was just a 9-second abbreviated power play. Big hit in the neutral zone there as Keene got wiped out. We've got an offsides, but I don't know if the referee saw that. It looked like Matt Fuller, a little bit of a dirty hit there on Keene. Now, neither player really saw the other, but Keene got wiped out. He's had 2 hard hits, one into the boards, and this one, you see the Beacons try to slide it through, and now Keene kind of just went right into the body there of Fuller. So that's the benefit of slow-mo instant replay. You can figure out if you were right or not, and that time I was 100% wrong. 4:33 to go, back to 5-on-5. McGregor in the draw, able to win it against Withers. Carter working behind the net as he tries to evade Cody Braga, who's putting a little bit of forecheck pressure on. Pass for Riley. Riley off the boards for McGregor. Beacons 4th line players from Maine, Massachusetts, and Azusa, California. UMass Boston, just like Southern Maine, they're not a regional team. Southern Maine has a lot of Canadians. The Beacons have a lot of players from all over the place. As there was one of the better looks for Southern Maine. Braga able to get around Carter, who ended up on the ice, but got very little on that backhand shot. Cody Braga has the 2 best looks thus far for Southern Maine, but hasn't really challenged Bailey MacBurnie. As we'll take a look. It's a really nice move to get the shot off. Just not much behind it here from Braga. Carter, the lone player, back, and he's able to get around him. Carter falling to the ice, and just not a lot on that backhand shot as Bross wins the faceoff. Bross was a winger his entire freshman season, the first half of this year. Beacons converted him to a center, and he's been really good in the faceoff draw. He's also been one of the Beacons' better penalty killers, has a team-high 2 shorthanded goals. Nicken battling right at his own blue line, and Tillotson able to send it back in. MacBurnie will slow it for Albano. A pair of Huskies are there. He's able to skate around the first and then send it out for Redler, who's trying to feed Bross, but instead it'll be handled there easily by Matthew Smith, the freshman out of St. John's, Newfoundland. Under 3:30 to play in the first period. The Beacons lead 1-0 on Ethan Nicken's 5-on-5 goal. Huge hit there just outside the penalty box, but first we had a whistle, and we'll see where the draw comes. Going to put it right at center ice. Oh, we've got a moment. Let's give a shout out to today's referee crew. Jim Tinarella and Frank Murphy are our referees. Nicholas Payer and JT Sabin are the linesmen. Not a group we've seen a ton this season, which probably makes both sides happy. UMass Boston hasn't loved some of the referee crews they've had this year, and for Southern Maine, you never want to get a crew that's very familiar with the home team and maybe has a good relationship. Not saying that the home team guarantees getting the calls, but when you have a refereeing crew that knows one team, sometimes you do see the calls go the home team's way. Under 3 to go in the first period. Beacons leading 1-0. Out to the blue line. Kept alive there by Lines. Now a shot through traffic. Didn't get all the way through. A Beacons defenseman got a stick in. Now it's tapped out. This will be icing if it goes in on net. They're going to wave it off as Leger was coming out anyway. But the Beacons may be catching a small break. Working with it now is Johnny Kite. Kite dishing it back and forth with Oscar Bergstrom. Handled there by Papianu. Southern Maine has been changing up and taking a while to get out of their own zone. Beacons haven't been putting that much of a forecheck pressure. Here's Bartuccio Pereira for Papianu, who just loses the puck. Was about to make a move, but puck didn't go with it. The other way, It's Skinner, the Texas native, right off of the knee there of Bergstrom. Skinner all the way up top for Carter, sends a shot that's tipped and it doesn't go in. Hit the underside of the bar there. A great effort from Stevie Bryant, but the referees say it never went down. It went off the top of the underside of the bar and stayed out. So UMass Boston very close to making it 2-0, but instead Southern Maine still right in this game, down 1-0. Huskies trying to make a change, but the Beacons keep it from going into the zone. They'll dump it in. Slowed down by Riley, able to find McGregor, who tries to avoid a check. Now Riley still pressuring the puck. Bartuccio Barrera into the rafters, and we'll get a whistle. And we'll take a look at, if we can see it real slow-mo. That was a great effort from Carter, just throwing it on net, and it was Stevie Bryant who got a stick on it, able to tip it in. This might have been a little bit slow to start this replay, but you see Bryant, the stick, can't really even see. You see a Beacon celebrating because they knew it got by him. Not even sure if we had had a slightly better angle, if we had been able to tell one way or another from up top. Keene behind the net, working with it with under a minute 15 to go, has his shot tipped and will come over to the near wall. Kept in for the moment by Albano. Now it flicks out and a chance for Southern Maine to clear, and Padgham does so. On the far side, it's Tomaszek, one of the two assistant captains on this team. Tomaszek trying to flip it over for Tillotson. Under a minute to play now as the Beacons will gain control. Riley all the way across looking for Keene. It was slowed down. McKean able to finally collect it. He'll dump it in down low. 45 seconds to go in the period now. Fuller off for Lines. Lines, second on the team with 10 assists, but he loses an edge there, and Bross comes up with it. Wide open Redler, and he finds the side of the netting. Southern Maine fans asking for a penalty there on Bross, but the referees saw no ill will. 3 players trying to pry the puck loose as the Beacons trying to take advantage of these final 20 seconds. Redler with Bross doing all the heavy lifting, trying to just poke it loose and get something going for the Beacons. Now Bross goes down, and we're going to see a penalty. Zack Bross has drawn 2 penalties in the period, and UMass Boston will have a chance to get a power play goal potentially, maybe even just get 2 minutes. But that was a phenomenal play by Bross, who was literally getting hugged there by 2 players, and then that's just a TKO. That is a wrestling move. It's going to be 2 minutes, I assume, but that could be 5. Because you can't take a man by the chin and throw him to the ice, and it will be 2, and it looks like it's going to be Maverick Lines, the sophomore out of Sherwood Park, Alberta. So the Beacons have had 2 power plays, but both have been cut short by penalties of their own. Redler tied up by Ferreira at 12 seconds to go. 2 Beacons go down, including one away from the play. Down to 5 seconds. Here's Nick and Artist. 1 leaves it for Albano. Quick shot. Doesn't get through. Knocked down by the defenseman who was already on the ice. That was Ferreira. So the Beacons, a 1-0 lead, and UMass Boston will be on the power play to start the second for a minute 48. An entertaining first period if you're a Beacons fan. A pretty controlled period by the top-seeded Beacons. Got the goal from Ethan Nicken in the first 10 minutes. Drew a couple penalties. Certainly had the better chances. Had a goal hit the underside of the bar and bounce out. But just a 1-0 lead. Southern Maine's got to be happy that they've been able to keep it that tight. Right now, we will take a look at the highlights from last week's game. The Beacons wrapped up the NEHC regular season title with a huge 8-4 win over Babson College, in which the power play was red hot. 5 goals on 7 chances. UMass Boston's going to hope for similar success as this game goes along. Currently 0 for 2. They'll have a chance with a minute 48 to go to start the second period. Those were the highlights from last Saturday's 8-4 win over Babson that clinched the number 1 seed. The Beacons could have been the 3rd seed today if they had lost that game, but a big 8-4 win. Currently they lead 1-0 over Southern Maine after 20 minutes. Let's take a look at the scoring summary. Only one goal to bring you right now. It was a nice one. Ethan Nicken off the rebound of John Bono, and Zack Bross earns the assist as well. That goal at 6:44 of the period. Beacons had another great chance when Stevie Bryant tipped a shot past Paul Leger, but it went off the underside of the bar and out to keep the game at 1-0 with about 3-4 minutes to go in the period. Right now we'll take a look at the first period statistics. UMass Boston controlling Southern Maine, not quite dominating the way they did the first time these two teams met, where UMass Boston outshot Southern Maine 40-15, kept the Huskies to just 3 shots in the first period and third period, but 14-7, doubling them up in shots. 14-11 in faceoffs, not bad. The Beacons 0 for 3 on the power play, but the real story is the fact that UMass Boston keeps shooting themselves in the foot when they go on the power play. Southern Maine committed a slashing call at 7:35. The Beacons answered back at 8:08 with a slashing call of their own. Jesse Kestenbaum went to the box for roughing at 13:08. 10 seconds later, it was Nick Albano at 13:18. Haven't committed a penalty during this power play yet, as Maverick Lines was whistled for roughing at 19:48. But the Beacons, 3 power plays thus far, and they haven't even recorded. They have 1 shot total. Southern Maine, they've had 2 power plays, but they've been for a total of 40 seconds, and they do not have a shot. So we'll see if the Beacons can be a little bit more successful on the man advantage going forward, maybe just not committing penalties of their own to give themselves a chance. We'll move along in our intermission show and take a look at the New England Hockey Conference scoreboard. 3 games going on outside of UMass Boston. Suffolk, who won at Norwich already this season in their first year in the New England Hockey Conference, 0-0 after 1. Their lone win over the Cadets came at 1-0, so that's a big one. Skidmore, the 6th seed, leads Babson, the 3 seed, 1-0. The last 4 meetings between those two teams have gone to overtime. This year it was Babson winning in overtime 4-3, and then tying Skidmore 3 weeks ago up in Saratoga Springs 1-1 in a game that Babson trailed 1-0 until the final 3 minutes of regulation. So that could be an upset special. On the other side, Hobart, the 4 seed, well, off to a pretty good start up at the Cooler. They lead 2-0 over New England College. Those two teams both sit in the top 15 of the country in the pairwise. But right now, the Statesmen off to a good start, looking to win their 5th consecutive conference tournament. This is their 2nd year in the NEHC, but they had a lot of success in the ECAC West before coming over to the NEHC. Right now, let's take a look at one of our Beacon spotlights. It's Zack Bross. Already has an assist in this one. He talks about his time in Minot, North Dakota. He was a player with the Minot Minotauros up in the NEHL. Talks about his time not only playing junior hockey up there, but how he became a bit of a fan favorite and how it kind of developed his game into what it is today. Very talented player who is also extremely physical, and thus far, that physicality has drawn a pair of penalties.
So I started in the SJHL, which is Canada, and that's one of the more fits my play style type leagues. Everybody finishes hits. There's 1 or 2 skill guys, and then 3.5 lines of finish your hit every single time, fight, do whatever it takes to be in the lineup kind of guys. So I really enjoyed it, and it was really a transition from AAA hockey to that. Everybody was big, everybody was strong, and my coach, one of the few stats he kept was hits, so really played into my play style and sort of developed the player I am now. And starting out in Minot in the NA, I was on the 4th line the first month or so. And my line, we were all 200 pounds, just big kids who would hit and get the puck and hit and cycle the puck over and over and over again. And sort of we had guys move on and get traded, and I moved up into second, first line role for a while. And sort of that progression has helped me to be the player I am now here. And it's just been, the leagues have kept getting better and better, and players older, stronger. So I think the development through that has really like made me into a 200-foot player and developed a well-rounded game. When I was in Minot, it was about 15,000 people. They like to claim 30, but I think the town had shrunk a little bit when oil started to go bad. So it was small, it was cold, you didn't want to be outside. I had a teammate who was my best friend there. He lived like 3 doors down, so pretty much any day, like, we didn't want to go do something outside, I'd run over to his house and we'd just hang out. And a lot of the guys did that. We played a ton of video games and just literally you didn't want to leave the house if you didn't have to. There was a mall, there was a few restaurants, but there wasn't much going on in the town. So going from 15,000 people there to 16,000 at the school and however many million are in the metro area in Boston, it's been a crazy transition, and it's something I was looking forward to. A lot of my teammates were from Minnesota, so they stayed in the Midwest and like small schools, and they seemed to enjoy it. But whenever I was 12, I came to Boston for the first time, and I decided right then I was going to play hockey in Boston one day. And so it was really a dream come true to like hear from people Isle and know that UMass Boston was an option. I was looking at a few schools in the Boston area, but that was my like main requirement, was I want to be in Boston, just because I fell in love with the city as a little kid. My assistant coach really, he would instill in us, "Don't suck at what you do," was his quote. And he had it on the wall of the locker room. He had it on like every text, email he sent us. So he just wanted us to be the best we were at no matter what it was that we were doing. So we would go to elementary schools every Tuesday, and it was like half the guys one week, half the guys the next week. And he really, from the start, he like grabbed me and was sort of like, "I want you to really get involved with this and make it your own." And so each week we would stick to a few. They're small towns, so there were only a few schools there. So I would switch back and forth, and I got to meet pretty much all the kids at all those schools. And so my first year in Minot, I really developed the ability to talk in front of people and not feel uncomfortable. It was nice because they were little kids and they looked up to you. But that year, my coach, he gave me the humanitarian award for the team. So just being able to step up and like feel like you have an impact in a small town and people know your name, it was really neat. And then the next year, I think having to do with having met those kids, their parents knew me. I got invited to a few kids' birthday parties and like went and played. There was one time we played hockey inside these people's living room with a ton of little kids, and they had the time of their lives at this. So the next year I won fan favorite award, which I was really excited for because I didn't have the most points. I didn't have a Division I scholarship to show for that year, but I played hard every game, and I finished hits, got in a few fights, scored some goals, and had a few celebrations that I guess the fans liked. And still going around town seeing the kids, so the families knew me and liked me, and it felt really good to have that walking away from your junior career.
Those are the scores from the other 3 games. So it's been a pretty low-scoring day thus far in the NEHC tournament. Just 4 combined goals. Actually, Suffolk's still at 0. I'm looking at a lot of different numbers there. Let's take a look around Beaconville. Track and field team competed at the Little East Championships up in Plymouth, New Hampshire. The women's basketball team suffered a 63-52 setback in their regular season finale. The 4-seeded Beacons will host the 5th-seeded Anchor Women on Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. The men's basketball team, they earned an 80-64 win. They wrapped up the 5th seed and will travel to 4-seeded Western Connecticut State on Tuesday. Don't know the start time yet on that one in the Little East Conference quarterfinals. And the women's hockey team 0-0 midway through the first against Suffolk University. Right now we're going to take a 30-second commercial break and come back with the highlights of that first period.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
Right now, let's take a look at the highlights from that first period. UMass Boston scoring the lone goal. A couple of really good chances. We start here. Redler with that quick chance on the first shift of the game, trying to get that 100th point. Thus far, he's been held off the scoreboard. This was that decent chance for Southern Maine. The look from distance that was knocked away by MacBurnie. Then off the faceoff, this is the goal. Goes through the legs of Redler. Bono has his shot deflect off of Bross. Kick save comes out to Nicken, and he's able to bury the rebound to give the Beacons a 1-0 advantage. From that point, Southern Maine was able to turn it around a little, able to come up with a couple of good chances. This was the best. Tyler Matthew, the team's captain, the backhand chance, and MacBurnie might have just gotten a toe on it. Either way, it went high and wide. And here's a look right at the end of their first abbreviated power play. Chance that goes through, and the rebound just sitting there, and Matthew unable to get it. As a couple Beacons able to clear. Then the Beacons came back with a vengeance late in the period. This is a great chance from Sanipass. They got a toe save from Paul Leger. Southern Maine coming the other way. The decent effort from Cody Braga. Just didn't get a lot behind the backhand shot. And then late in the period, the Beacons starting to create a little bit. This was the shot that went off of the crossbar. Didn't get to the best angle on that one. Then Bross able to knock the puck away, and then Redler, the shot in tight, goes just wide. And here's the roughing call on Bross, and you see here, Maverick lines, just a straight palm to the chin of Bross to knock down the man that we heard from in the Beacon spotlight, and that's why the Beacons have a minute 48 on the power play to start the second period. Now the two teams are changing sides, and the Beacons will have to start at center ice, but still an advantage for UMass Boston, who's trying to get that power play going. Just one shot on their first two power plays, and they've committed penalties on each of their first two power plays to cut into those man advantages. The Beacons right now, they're on their third power play, and they haven't even had a full minute of 5-on-4 action. Southern Maine gets the clearance, and they'll get a quick change. 15 seconds in, the Huskies will change their forwards. Matthew comes out there with Sanderson, two of the men wearing the letters for Southern Maine, and another dump from Southern Maine as the Beacons have yet to establish themselves in the zone. Beacons' second unit right now. Chukrin out there with Skinner, Nakbar, Bryant, and Sanipass. And again, UMass Boston unable to even get anything going in the zone, much less a shot off, as this wraparound it goes too far, and the Beacons give the puck up in their own zone. Beacons started the period with a minute 48 to go on the power play. Down to 55 seconds now as they begin to change up the groups. Bross is out there from the top unit. Nakbar, the pass behind Sanipass, right off the bench is Regnart, and that was big to keep it in, but here's a chance for Tillotson, and he'll get it out of the zone, but not much further past than the red line. Albano with it in his own zone. The Beacons wasting precious seconds here, down to just 32 seconds as Albano trying to win a foot race there with Tomaszek, and Tomaszek will head to the bench after slowing down Albano. To Bross, Redler heading to the net. Bross tried to deke and then send a shot in, but it went off the skate of a Husky, and UMass Boston has really made a mess of this power play. They have got nothing going on in the opening 148. While we didn't hear from Peter Belisle at the intermission, I'm sure that this was something he wanted to get a lot more out of than he has. As Albano gets the shot off, rebounds loose. Redler is there. Albano is in the back of the net right now. Difficult to score from that angle. And we're back to 5-on-5 after UMass Boston got one look in the final 3 seconds of the 5-on-5. Now going the other way with it is Braga, but the puck is well out of his reach. MacBurnie comes out of his net, and he'll carom it all the way out right to the stick of Redler. Great pass from MacBurnie, and now Redler's shot is tipped up high. Good work from Maverick Lines out of the box. Rebound loose. Here's Bross, and the slap shot right into the body there of Leger. That could have been a great look, but Leger able to cut down on the angle and keeps this game at 1-0. We'll have that highlight for you right here, as it was a nice feed for Bross, and you see him teeing up that slap shot, but unable to put it past Leger. He had the power, just didn't have the accuracy. Might have wanted to take a little bit off of that one. Leger right now needs to attend to his equipment, which is why we have a bit of a stoppage. Junior out of Blainville, Quebec, making his first career start against the Beacons. Anthony Delosio Started all but one game over the past 2 seasons against UMass Boston. These two teams have met 5 times. This is the 6th. But the sophomore out of Texas is the number 2 goalie today, with Leger getting his first career start against the Beacons. He's the 3rd goalie this season to start against UMass Boston. It's Chelmsford, Mass native Peter Ticciarelli got the start back in January up in Gorham. Another glove save from Leger, and we'll get an offensive zone draw. The Beacons will keep that 4th line out there. Southern Maine will send out the 2nd line of Artuccio, Pereira, Mathieu, and Papianu. Face off 1 by McGregor, who tries to center it there for Keene, and he dishes their cross, but a couple Southern Maine players were there. Now a backhand shot from Riley. That's a pretty obvious hand pass, which you're allowed to do in the zone as long as it's not held on to. And this has been a bit of a wacky play off of the good chance from Keene. Bono trying to poke it out of the zone. It's kept in. Now with space, it's Padgham taking his time, has a shot deflect off of Keene and then his own teammate. The Beacons nearly went the other way on an odd man rush. Bono has Keene leaking out, and he's able to find it. 2-on-3 the Beacons go. Keene will gain the zone and wait for options. Trying to feed it down low for Riley. It's broken up. Now Southern Maine has numbers. It's Braga with it. Dishes it off for Withers. Withers a shot off the bar, and the puck will stay in just barely. That one pinging the near post. A great look from Withers off the feed from Braga. UMass Boston will send it out of the zone. This one's going to come all the way in, and it'll be slowed down by Leger. That looks like another obvious icing that Leger elected to play. So that puck was going just wide of his net. Now it's Withers, the man who just had that big shot. Braga from distance, no traffic in front, and the Beacons will clear the rebound behind the net. 2 good looks from this top line for Southern Maine. They try to even this game up at 1-1. Roviak gains the zone and then is upended as Southern Maine will look to go the other way with Lines. Lines dumps it in, and Albano has time as Southern Maine in the midst of a change. They'll look to flip it out all the way to Roviak, but it's broken up by Fuller. Fuller into the zone looking for options, sends a shot in, and MacBurnie holds on to the glove save. We've got to give you another look at that great effort from Adam Withers. It was a nice drop pass from Cody Braga. And then Withers just absolutely blistering a shot that caught the top right crossbar. You see MacBurnie very late to react. I don't think he had a good sight line on that shot, and the Beacons fortunate to still be leading by a goal. Bross in the face-off dot, working here against Ferreira. He'll be thrown out. It's Nicken who loses this one, and then the shot right off the face-off win from Gardner was knocked down by a Beacon. A second effort just wide. Puck comes out for Ferreira up top, and the shot from Kestenbaum is knocked away by Bross. Beacons been giving up the momentum a little bit over the past couple minutes. Didn't get really anything on that minute 48 to start the period on the power play. Southern Maine took some energy out of that. Turnover behind the net as Gallagher and Regnar couldn't collect, but now Gallagher knocks the Husky off the puck, and the Beacons able to get out of the zone for a moment. MacBurnie comes way out to make that glove save. UMass Boston just seems a little unsettled right now by Southern Maine. Beacons will send the top line out there. Nakbar, Sanapass, and Peters, a very talented group, but none of these guys have really been hot on offense the last couple of games. Between the 3, they have just 1 point, a goal against Hobart in their last 3 games. This is a trio that has 17 points, 20 points, and 16 points, but they've been ice cold. Southern Maine tips it back into the zone, but they'll have to touch up. Now it's Peters with Sanapass heading to the net, finds him, shoots. We've got a delayed penalty, and Sanapass unable to score, but drew the call. It's going to be a hook on Southern Maine, and that's just such a beautiful pass. Sanapass has such soft hands for a big man, and it was a great job to bring it in. He actually scored against Southern Maine while drawing a penalty back in November. This time unable to score, but at least draws the penalty. So you see it there, Tillotson just holding on, and Leger able to throw his body out in front of that soft look from Sanapass. Beacons will send the top unit out there. At least they'll start the power play on the man advantage. They didn't get much zone time to start the period. 0 for 3 thus far, over 20% on the season. Top unit of Bross, Redler, Nicken, Regnart, and Albano, as Albano just barely able to keep it in. Regnart from the near circle. Back for Albano. Top for Redler, remember, sitting on 99 career points. That's a shot that's immediately knocked down by a Husky. That was Ferreira. But Albano able to recover the puck and keep it in. Albano for Regnard, who tees up a shot, and this time it's Bartucci. No, it's rather Gardner who keeps it in. 19 rather than 18. A pair of shot blocks for Southern Maine to start this penalty kill. Albano, almost a dangerous pass. Redler pulled it in from behind him, and now he goes behind the net, trying to hold off Kite. Redler dishes it all the way through for Albano. Albano shoots and just misses a shot that just whistled past the near post through a lot of traffic. Bross already with 1 assist, down low for Nicken. Nicken looking for an option, tries to send it in near circle. Redler pokes it through the crease, and now Redler collects and sends it just wide. Little bit of havoc in front of the net there for Southern Maine, but they escape some trouble. Southern Maine has been pinned in their own zone for the first minute of this power play. Now Regnar loses it. Gardner tries to get there, and Regnar wins it. No look backhand feed, but it's kept in by Albano on the attempted clearance from Ferreira. Albano at the slot takes a shot through traffic and a glove save, and a big one for Leger. So we'll take a look at one of those numerous chances the Beacons had on the power play. This has certainly been their best in their 4 tries. It's the Nicken look, just waits, and then tries to send that one in near post, and then Redler poked it through, but there were no Beacons in the vicinity. Both sides will send out new units. For the Beacons, it's the second unit of Skinner, Nakbar, Sanapass, Chukrin, and Bryant. Matthew in the faceoff dot against Nakbar, and Nakbar, one of the Beacons' best faceoff takers, wins it. Dave Chukrin, who reached double-digit points last weekend with a pair of assists, has had double-digit points in every season of his career. Sends that shot hard off the blocker there of Leger. You could hear it up top. 20 seconds to go on the man advantage. Can the Beacons double their lead? Chukrin all the way across for Bryant. Right back for Chukrin. Chukrin all the way through looking for the one-timer of Skinner, but it was tipped away. Now it's Bryant teeing up a shot, deflected off the top of the cage, and a chance to clear, but we've got a hand pass on Southern Maine, and the puck will stay in. That look from Stevie Bryant hit off traffic in front, went over the net, hit the top of the cage, and then bounced out, and we'll take a look at it right now. See Bryant waiting, then he tees up the shot. This hit off of, I think it actually hit off the player diving out right in front of him. So now the Beacons are going to send out the 4th line with just 4 seconds left on the man advantage. Don't want to get caught with an offensive unit out there. Southern Maine wins the faceoff. It's Padgham who's just going to whistle this one down. The faceoff, the power play was already over, so that's a poor play from Padgham, and the Beacons will get the faceoff in the offensive zone. Another chance here from McGregor. See Ed Harding there, 5th-year head coach at Southern Maine, 30-78-11. Southern Maine alum and a University of Southern Maine Hall of Famer, served as an assistant coach back in the 90s and has been the head coach for about 4.5 seasons now. Took over 5 years ago in the middle of the year as the Beacons get a soft look off of the face-off. And we'll see a 3rd consecutive offensive zone draw. And Peter Belial's going to stick with this 4th unit. Southern Maine's going to make a change. They had to keep this group out on the icing. They're going to send out the top line, trying to create something against the Beacons' 4th. Puck is kept in there by Bono. Bono, remember, an assist on that first goal. He now has 2 goals and 5 career assists in the postseason. Guy who doesn't have a lot of career points, as that was played by high stick and will get a whistle, but has been really good in clutch situations. His freshman season when the Beacons made it all the way to the Frozen Four, it was Bono who sparked the Beacons' 4-goal third period to go from down 7-3 to tying it up and forcing overtime. Bono in that game had the first of 4 goals in the third period and had an assist on the second. Beacons senior class trying to make it back to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd time in their careers. As a number 1 seed in 2016, they beat this Southern Maine team 4-0 to start their run to the NCAA tournament. Ended up beating Southern Maine, UNE, who's now a member of the Commonwealth Coast Conference, and Babson in overtime. In the NCAA tournament, the Beacons traveled to both Trinity and now NEHC squad Hobart won on the road before losing 8-7 in double overtime to St. Norbert College. Nakbar in the faceoff dot working against Ferreira. And they're going to send Nakbar out. Not happy with it. Sanapass trying to leave it off there for Peters. He's just such a big body. Off the boards is a Chukrin shot that's tipped up. Another great diving effort there by Southern Maine's Parker Sanderson. This Huskies team has gotten their bodies, their sticks, into a lot of passing and shooting lanes. Nakbar having a bit of a conversation right now with the linesman. Thought that he was unfairly kicked out of the faceoff dot the last time. This time he'll work against Tillotson. Nakbar able to win it back cleanly for Chukrin. Lots of traffic in front, and again, Chukrin has his shot tipped up, this time into the rafters. Good work from Matthew Smith. Beacon's top line versus Southern Maine's fourth. Neither side will make a change. 12:17 to go in period number 2. Number 1 UMass Boston leads 1-0 over number 8 University of Southern Maine. The goal from Ethan Nicken just about 7 minutes into the first period. Lots of traffic in the faceoff dot, and finally Nakbar, the guy who took the faceoff for the Beacons, able to win it. All the way down low for Sanapass. Behind the net, Sanapass wins it, the backhand shot, and the puck is loose, and it doesn't bounce in. It was just sitting there. It took a bounce and goes wide, and now it'll be an icing. A pair of great looks from Garrison Sanapass and I believe Chris Peters. Those guys will we'll head over to the bench and get a couple high fives, but we've got to take a look at that last play. It's Sanapass on the wraparound here at the near post, and then I think it's Peters who grabs the rebound, backhand shot, and then Sanapass actually has the second look that bounces there, and it was picked up by Smith as it went just wide. Chukrin from distance into the body. Puck is loose. Nicken fighting for it. Comes out, and it's picked up by a Southern Maine player who falls to the ice, and Albano keeps it in. Redler whiffs on the shot, and a referee almost got knocked over. Beacon got hit hard into the boards. That was Nicken. Seen some very strange bounces of the puck the last couple minutes. Two players go down the ice, one for either side, and now it's Tillotson roughing up Bross. And no call, despite the fact that the Beacons bench was up in arms. Bross has already drawn 2 penalties, 2 of the 4. Chance here for Southern Maine, it's Braga. Braga for the far circle, and his shot goes wide. Great work from Chukrin to get over there and influence the shot. 11:11 to go in period number 2. Chukrin tried to get the turn on Withers, nearly lost it. Now it's sent out, and it's tipped forward by Nicken. This should not be an icing. It's Nicken tangled up with Kestenbaum, one freshman versus another. Big hit there on Padgham as Zack Bross tried to lay down a little bit of the lumber. Beacon's in the midst of a change. Here comes Withers, had it tipped away by Bross, and Bross collects the loose puck, flicks it out for Sanapass. Goes a little wide, and we've got another hand pass on Southern Maine. 10:41 to go. Southern Maine controlled the first 5 or 6 minutes of the period. The Beacons have responded the last couple with some good chances, but we're still scoreless through 9 minutes and change here in period number 2. They're going to send the faceoff back into the zone because of the hand pass. And this Beacons top line that has created some good chances in this game will get another offensive zone draw. Nakbar has Sanapass to his right, Gallagher right behind him, and Peters to his left, wins it forward. Merrill left the puck off for a teammate Bergstrom, but the Beacons keep it in. Gallagher sends a shot down low, got caught in the body of a Husky. The referees saw the play the whole way as the goalie stick was tangled up with Sanapass, and now a Southern Maine player, that's Merrill, goes over to hand it back to his netminder, but that allowed the Beacons to retain possession. Merrill behind his own net, tries to go straight down Broad Street and able to clear the zone. His pass is knocked down, but Southern Maine will control with Bergstrom. Puck goes into the Beacons bench, and we'll get a stoppage and a faceoff. 10:03 to go in period number 2. Top-seeded Beacons looking to stay undefeated as a number 1 seed in conference tournaments, 5-0 all time. Southern Maine looking for their first goal in the postseason in 7 seasons. They have not won in their last 7 postseason meetings. They have not scored in their last 6. Johnny Kite goes back to control the puck, dishes it over for Lines, and then Lines' centering feed finds Ferreira. Huskies with speed the other way. Handling the puck there is Sanderson. Down low for Gardner, who overskates it. Bono for Bryant, trying to feed it all the way over for Roviak. First player to it here is Gardner. Gardner for Ferreira, who gets pushed hard into the boards. Not enough for a call. There's a lot of Southern Maine players, families over there, and they weren't even begging for it, so the contact must not have been that bad. It's Skinner with it. Skinner dumps it down, and Roviak will chase. The Beacons' third line of all freshmen. Roviak from Michigan, Skinner from Texas, and Bryant from Washington. Very diverse group. Lots of talent, lots of speed. Sanderson leading the forecheck pressure from Southern Maine, and it's working right now. Green up top, shot from distance, goes off the leg there of Roviak, giving up the body. Carter behind the net trying to win the foot race with Green. Green able to get there and dish it off for Withers. Green and Carter look like they got their skates lined up. Shot from Braga at the top of the slot, and now a second effort from the far side from Withers. Cody Braga, who has 9 goals, tied for first on the team, has probably had the best 3 or 4 chances. Great effort there from Bryant to avoid the big hit from Padgham. Beacons in the midst of the change. Southern Maine tried to catch them, but UMass Boston did a good job to get all 5 out there quickly. Puck out to the red line, and Withers trying to dump it in further. Gets as far as Chukrin at the top of the circle. Chukrin the lead pass for Keene. Keene one-on-one with Padgham, 122 versus another. Keene tied up. McGregor comes over for his aid. 2 Beacons and 3 Huskies in the vicinity. It's picked up by Kestenbaum, who will dish it across for Braga. Braga, his feed, looking for Tomaszek, stolen away by Albano. Albano had 4 points. He and Nolan Redler were named to the D3Hockey.com Team of the Week. But both players are scoreless thus far. 7:51 to go. Beacons whistled for an offside. You see Corey Schneider there, Beacons assistant coach, joined by Peter Belisle. That pairing in their second season after longtime UMass Boston assistant and then associate head coach Sean Walsh took the head coaching job at Southern New Hampshire University before the 2017-2018 season. Walsh actually was able to beat Belisle earlier this year when the Beacons headed up to Southern New Hampshire for the Stovepipe PAL Classic. Penman won 2-1 in that one. But I'm sure for the most part, Walsh is rooting for UMass Boston every time out. Guy who put a lot of time and a lot of hours into recruiting and coaching this Beacons team before heading back to his alma mater. Albano takes a shot, but first we had a whistle away from the play, and I think we have goaltender interference. Faceoff will come just outside the Southern Maine zone. It's been a pretty clean game from UMass Boston. They have not committed a penalty at 5-on-5. They have committed a pair of penalties at 5-on-4 where they cut into their own power play, but they haven't committed one here. There's a good shot from Peters, and then Santa pass, a backhand feed off the rebound, but unable to beat Leger, who, remember, a goals against average of over 4 on the season. As Peters comes away, the turnaround shot, and Leger makes the glove save. But in his last 3, 2-1 with the goals against average of under 2.5. He's played very well here down the stretch, and that's the reason why the guy who, for most of the season, was the 1B option for Ed Harding gets the start in the playoffs. Anthony DeLozio has played a few more minutes, gotten one more start this season than Leger, but he's on the bench today, and that's an easy save for Leger off the look from Regnart with no traffic in front. This is what you don't want to do if you're UMass Boston. Let Leger kind of get into a comfort zone, make a couple easy saves where you can see the puck the whole way. And on the other side, Bailey MacBurnie adjusting his equipment. He hasn't seen a lot of the puck the last 3 to 4 minutes. Beacon's second line against the Southern Maine fourth. Bross tries to win the faceoff forward, but Padgham was waiting for it. Redler tries to come away with it. It's poked wide. Tomaszek along with Padgham there trying to get it out of the zone, but the Beacon's able to do enough to keep it in. from the circle. It's Nickett, tries to get a backhand shot off, but Tomaszek able to tip it away at the last moment. Bross with a couple of moves, trying to open up a little bit of space. Has Gallagher, who sends it right into the body there of Southern Maine's Matthew Smith. Bross sends a shot high and wide, trying to keep it in on the far side is Regnart. Regnart dishes it down low for Redler, sitting on 99 career points. You know he wants to get it soon. Puck is loose right outside the crease. Gallagher able to keep it in. Backhand shot, wide open, Redler, he scores! Point number 100, and the Beacons lead 2-0. A tremendous play from Garrett Gallagher, and you see the entire team celebrating with the diminutive Nolan Redler, who picks up point number 100 in game number 77. Ryan Carter goes over and collects the puck. He'll give it over to Corey Schneider, and that one's going on the mantle. Nolan Redler doubles the Beacons' advantage with 6:07 to go, and the Winchester Mass native can breathe a sigh of relief. His team-leading 15th goal on the season, his 34th point, and his 100th career point on his 49th career goal. Garrett Gallagher made that play, pinched hard, able to keep the puck in the zone, and then a backhand feed to a wide-open Redler with Leger out of position. Southern Maine trying to answer right away. The shot from Merrill goes off the back of his own player, and the Beacons look to rush the other way. That was a good look from Merrill, but it went off the back of Gardner. I don't know if it would have beaten MacBurnie one way or another. Southern Maine pokes it out of the zone. Lots of cheers from the Beacons fan base, especially to my right, where the Beacons lacrosse players and baseball players are camped out. Nolan Redler, a fan favorite. Very physical guy, very loud guy. Loves to celebrate his goals, sometimes in front of the opposing team's bench. It's a guy you love to have on your team and hate to play against. And the New England Hockey Conference Co-Player of the Year shared those honors with Tom Obrin, the Norwich goalie who led the top scoring defense in the conference. Scores his first goal of the playoffs. He had 2 goals in last year's playoff win over New England College here at home. Chukrin tries to get out of the zone. It's kept in there by Braga, who's looked by far the most dangerous threat for the Huskies. Withers for Green. Puck is loose in front of the Beacons net, but Chukrin easily able to get there in time. So with 4:35 to go here in the second period, Southern Maine has got to find a goal. You don't want to go into the third down by multiple goals on the road in a postseason contest, as MacBurnie easily makes the save on the shot from lines that looked like it was going wide. See there, Nolan Redler hanging out with his line mates. He's played pretty much every game of his career alongside Zack Bross. And Ethan Nickton has been a nice third piece for UMass Boston the last couple of weeks, working alongside those two. Bross and Redler were the line mates last year with Colin Larkin, who was not only the New England Hockey Conference Player of the Year, he was the Sid Watson Award winner as the top player in all of Division III. Puck sent in behind the net. Gallagher just had the assist. Will send it out of the zone, and this one doesn't have enough legs for icing. It's Kite working with that long stretch pass read nicely by Keene, who knocks it down. Keene dishes it off for McGregor, but Keene was looking for the puck in a slightly different angle. Keston Mom tries to wrap it around all the way for Martuccio Pereira. Kicks it over looking for a teammate, but the Beacons able to corral the puck at least for a moment. It's tipped just out of the zone as the Beacons will touch up, and they win possession, winning it back for Regnart. .330 to go in period number 2. UMass Boston leading 2-0. Goal in the first period from Ethan Nicken, from Bono and Bross. In the second period, just about 12, 13 minutes into the period, it was Nolan Redler from Garrett Gallagher. A pair of even strength goals, giving UMass Boston a 2-0 advantage. Thus far this season, the Beacons are 2-0 against Southern Maine, and including this game, have outscored the Huskies 12-2. Southern Maine has not scored since the third period of the first game. The Beacons have outscored the Huskies 6-0 over the last 5 periods. Bross comes up with the puck, has a shooting angle from the top of the slot, gets off a low shot. Beacons trying to fight for it, and Carter can't quite keep it in. Now a foot race the other way. It's Tomaszek and Bono, and the Kennesaw, Georgia native wins it. Now those two are battling for the puck. Coming forward to win it is Tillotson for the Huskies. Out to the point, it's Lines. Lines from the circle, Lines from the dot. Puck is loose. The Beacons are about to go on the PK. And good work from Southern Maine there to create some good chances, and they will head to the power play for the first time today with a full 2 minutes on the clock. We'll see which Beacon is going. Quite a few Beacons were out in front trying to clear traffic, and it looks like it's going to be Zack Bross. Bross, one of the most penalized Beacons. In fact, he came in with the team leading 48 penalty minutes. And he picks up his 25th minor penalty of the season. See there, Southern Maine 17.5%, 21 of 120. The Beacons at 89.3%, tops in the conference, but they've seen their PK percentage drop from 95% first semester down to 89. They've only had an 85% kill rate here at home, much lower than their season average. And now the Beacons have 2 guys in the box. Redler joins Bross. Southern Maine currently has 5 guys out there to the Beacons 3. I did not see 2 penalties on the play, but we'll see what the refs work out, as right now there's only the initial 2 minutes on the board. 2:41 to go in period number 2. This could be big. Both penalties are now up there. And Bross and Redler are in the box, and Peter Belisle can't believe it. Literally looked at the scoreboard, saw the second 2 minutes go up, and he was jumping up and down, banging on the glass. So Southern Maine, their first full 2 minutes on the power play, it'll be a 5-on-3. UMass Boston killed off a 5-on-3 penalty last weekend against Babson, the start of a 5-minute major in which they killed off the first 4 minutes, including the first 2 with the 5-on-3. But this could be a big turning break for Southern Maine. The 3 out there, Stevie Bryant, Nick Albano, and Gabe Chukrin. Up top, it's Merrill, sends a shot off his own teammate. That went off the knee there of Braga. Now it's Withers. Green's the guy to watch on the power play. 3 goals and 7 assists, team leading 10 points. That's good for top 10, and there's Withers Green sending it just wide. Braga has 4 power play goals, and the player with it there, Matthew, who tried to make the pass to the top of the slot, has 5. Beacons in the midst of a change. Southern Maine will keep that top group out with a minute 5 to go on the 5-on-3. Minute 43 to go in the period. Huge 5-on-3 opportunity here as McGregor able to come over the puck and dumps it down. Another small change. The Beacons going with McGregor, Chukrin, and Gallagher. Chukrin has not changed thus far through the first minute 15 on the man advantage. Braga hard off the boards for Green. Now it's Lines back over for Braga. Remember, 9 goals on the season, sends a shot in tight, and the rebound goes right through Tomaszek, but the Beacons can't clear. Withers all the way across. It's Withers with a shot that goes off of a Beacon, and now it's Lines fighting with Gallagher and able to keep it in. Green has his pass intercepted. It's McGregor off the boards, and the Beacons will dump it in with 17 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Huskies finally make a change on that top unit. Here comes Lines into the zone, dishes it off for Braga, who's yet to change. Down low, out there for the first time is Papianu, and the Beacons make the change, and here come 2 skaters. The Beacons will send Redler and Bross out, trying to catch Southern Maine sleeping. So not only do the Beacons come out and take advantage as a Southern Maine player goes down hard, I don't think they're going to give the call, but they're worried about potential safety there of Southern Maine's Brock Pageant, but the Beacons try to create something out of it. Couple of good looks there for Southern Maine, and we'll take a look right now at the highlights. This is actually the hit from Redler, so we're going to go. And you see there, that's actually Bross, the hip check on Pageant, who appears to be okay as he stays on, although Paul Leger is still asking the referee where the call was. 30.6 seconds to go. Southern Maine unsuccessful on the 5-on-3. The Beacons have been able to kill off a 5-on-3 in back-to-back weekends here at home. Not something you should be proud of, but certainly a pretty strong feat, as the Beacons would like to avoid giving up too many more of those as the playoffs go along. Redler backhand feed, but easily read by Southern Maine. A poor attempted clearance. Bono was able to keep it in, but then Gardner able to clear, send it in. This one won't have enough legs for icing. Gardner with 4. He'll look to kill off the remainder of the clock, and that will do it on the second period. The lone goal, Nolan Redler. His team-leading 15th goal, his 100th career point, and UMass Boston doubles their advantage going into the second intermission. The big sequence, though, UMass Boston killing off a 5-on-3 in the final 3 minutes of the period to keep their lead at 2-0. Take a look at our second period intermission show. We'll have highlights from the period, a look around the conference, but first, take a look at the Special Olympic highlights from UMass Boston's basketball tournament they hosted last Sunday. It's a great event, all 18 teams represented, and the Special Olympic athletes always really love it. So let's take a look at some highlights from that one, and then we'll be back with our second period intermission show here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Hope when you take that jump, you don't feel the fall. Hope when the water rises, you build a wall. Hope when the crowd screams out, you're screaming your name. Hope if everybody runs, you choose to stay. And it hurts so bad. Hey, the only way you can know, you give it all you had. And I hope that you don't suffer, but take the pain. Hope when the moment comes, you'll say, I lived. I live. I swear I live.
UMass Boston leading 2-0 after 2 periods. as the Beacons able to score a goal late in period number 2 to double their advantage, take a little bit of pressure off. Southern Maine controlled the first 4, maybe 5 minutes of that period, but the Beacons able to swing the momentum midway through, score a goal, and then late, a huge penalty kill, killed off a 5-on-3. Southern Maine was moving the puck well, but unable to beat Bailey MacBurnie, and the Beacons' penalty kill continues to be phenomenal. Tops in the conference during the regular season, just under 90%, 5th overall in the nation. Let's take a look at the scoring summary. 1 goal in each period for UMass Boston. That second line continues to dominate. Last weekend, 5 goals and 10 assists in the 8-4 win over Babson. Today they've scored both goals. Ethan Nicken at 6:44 of the first period. The assist to Bono and Bross. In the second period, it was Nolan Redler's 100th career point, 15th goal in the season at 13:53. Zack Bross picks up his second assist of the day. Garrett Gallagher had the primary assist as UMass Boston sitting pretty through 2 periods against the Southern Maine team that averages less than 3 goals per game. It would be a bit of a shock if they got 3 in the third period, but a big thing is the Beacons have to stay out of the box. Let's take a look at the team statistics. Thus far, the Beacons have done an okay job of that. In the second period, UMass Boston outshot Southern Maine 17-7. They've held the Huskies to 7 shots in both periods. 14 saves for Bailey MacBurnie on 14 shots. 29 saves on 31 shots for Paul Leger, who has played well in this one. The Beacons also have a 31-20 edge in faceoffs, in large part because of Zack Bross. 11 of 14. Really nice mark for a guy who started the season as a winger. For Southern Maine, they only have 2 players who are over 50%. Mark Tomaszek and Parker Sanderson, the 2 assistant captains, are both 1 for 1. Power plays, Southern Maine is 0 for 4 at this point, as are the Beacons, but the Huskies had their best chance on that 5-on-3, unable to do anything with it. Let's take a look around the New England Hockey Conference. A couple of tight games after 1. Let's see what we have after 2. Suffolk has held Norwich without a goal at Kreitzberg now in 5 straight periods. The Rams going for the upset on the second-seeded Cadets. They're scoreless through 40 minutes. Skidmore still leads Babson 1-0 through 2 periods. It was the exact same score the last time these two teams met 3 weeks ago in Saratoga Springs. Babson scored the game-tying goal with under 3 minutes to go. Those two teams have gone to 4 straight overtime games. Will they go to a 5th straight? Well, they've got 20 minutes left at the Babson Skating Center. And then Hobart, well, 2 goals in the first, 2 more in the second. They lead 4-1 over New England College, who's a top 15 team in the pairwise, but is likely going to see their season come to an end here in the middle of February. You'd much rather be playing into March, even early April. So that is what we have through 40 minutes. The Beacons and Hobart, the only teams with multiple goal leads. These are the only 2 games with multiple goals, period, as the Statesmen have scored 4 of the 8 total goals through 40 minutes in the 4 New England Hockey Conference tournament games. While we've got a moment, let's take a look at our second Beacon spotlight of the night. It's Chris Peters, the all-time leading scorer in the EHL. He played with the Walpole Express. Talks about his junior experience and how the adjustment to college play has been, as Peters was asked to be a big-time scorer, started hot, had a bit of a cold spell, and has picked it up again. He's out there on the top line today with Daniel Nakbar and Garrison Sanipass.
Yeah, I mean, playing the EHL was a fun league. Guys like to have fun and all that, but when it came down to the game, it was pretty much just my teammates helping me out. I wouldn't say it was just all me, but my teammates definitely gave me a lot of help. The coaching staff there, John Lonsberry, obviously a great coach, but he's a great guy. I mean, even life skills, he taught me a bunch, not just on the ice, but off the ice as well. So, yeah, I mean, that was always good. I mean, it was great for me, but at the end of the year, we didn't really get it done, so I guess that was kind of the one drawback of that. I got the record, but didn't really get to the championship or the Final Four, so that was kind of a letdown. But, yeah, it was good getting there, and that was, I guess, a little bit more pressure towards the end, getting towards the record. Coming in, I was kind of looked at to be a scorer, and that was what Coach Belial and Coach Schneider really wanted me to do, was work on my scoring and just kind of my overall game. But, yeah, it was obviously good to get a couple easy goals kind of in early against not the best teams. But yeah, after that, it was just kind of working out my whole defensive game and kind of neutral zone and getting everything down with the systems and all that. It's much harder. I mean, going back to last year, I was playing against kids who were, a year or two younger than me. And then this year coming in, guys are 3-4 years older than me and a lot stronger. So it was definitely a little switch up when I got here, but, I'm kind of getting used to it. And I was lucky to get hard work paid off a little bit and got a couple of points early, and that was good for me. At that point, if you're not scoring, you just got to kind of switch up some things that you're doing, off the ice, maybe some rituals. You start doing some different stuff in the gym and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of staying on the ice a little bit longer and doing some more shooting drills after practice and just kind of trying to switch things up a little bit and try not to be the same player you were before. Obviously, scoring goals gives you a lot more confidence, but yeah, I mean that weekend against Suffolk and Johnson Wales, that was big for me. Kind of got me back on the wagon. So, but yeah, that was good for me. Kind of got rewarded for the hard work in the gym and on the ice. The upperclassmen, obviously they've been there before, so they're kind of just telling me it's just another game, but everyone gets more riled up for these type of games, playoff games. So I don't know, they're just telling us to be calm and just play your same game as usual. It's just another game, just the next game. So.
That was Chris Peters, the Beacons freshman out of Rochester, New York, talking about his transition to the college game. One thing to note about around the New England Hockey Conference, the Beacons as the top seed will face the lowest remaining seed. So right now with Skidmore beating Babson and Suffolk tied with Norwich, if either of those games finishes an upset with the lower seed winning, UMass Boston would play that team. So that would make it a little bit easier with the NEHC so stacked. You're looking at 5 teams in the top 15. The longer you can go without playing a tremendous team, the more likely you are to avoid an upset, and the more likely you are to get to that title game where the Beacons, currently sitting 6th in the pairwise, that might be enough to get them in as a large bid. Obviously, you want to win the entire thing, but if you can make it a little easier on yourself, why not? Let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. One game going on right now, and it's a bit of an upset. Speaking of those upsets, the Beacons currently leading Suffolk 2-1. UMass Boston is the 7th seed, Suffolk the 2 seed in the New England Hockey Conference tournament, but UMass Boston has won at least one game in the conference tournament in 6 straight years, including several road games. Suffolk's playing their first ever playoff game in program history, so maybe that experience paying off for UMass Boston. Kelsey Ryan scored her first goal as a Beacon last Friday on Senior Day. The sophomore has 2 goals in the first period for the Beacons, her second and third of the season, as all 4 goals in that game came in a 4-minute stretch of the first period. That game still has a ton of time left in the second period, and of course the third, as the Beacons look for their first win of the season against the Rams, who tied UMass Boston 2-2 here at the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink, and then defeated UMass Boston 3-1 at Suffolk just a couple weeks ago. Let's take a quick look ahead for UMass Boston. I know I just mentioned it, but looking at the path UMass Boston might take, if they can hang on in this contest, UMass Boston would host the lowest remaining seed on Saturday, February 23rd. That's next Saturday at 7 p.m. So if you carved out some space on your calendar for this game at 7, you can just do the same thing on your Google Calendar, or even if you have a handy little pocket calendar for next week, if the Beacons can hang on for 20 more minutes. They currently lead 2-0 through 40 minutes. And let's take a look at the highlights from that second period. Southern Maine was the better team to start, but UMass Boston able to get the late goal and then kill off a 5-on-3, as we'll bring you the highlights right now on the Beacons Broadcast Network. See, early on, this is the rush from Albano. Right at the end of that minute 48 of power play time the Beacons had to start the period. This is a great look from Bross. A nice job by Leger to come out and cut down on the angle. Another save coming on the look from Dakota Keene. And then this was the best look of the day thus far for Southern Maine. That was Withers right off the bar on the nice drop pass from Braga. MacBurnie never really saw it. Another good look from Braga, who has looked extremely dangerous today for the Huskies. This is the great pass from Peters for Santa Pass, where he draws the penalty. UMass Boston unable to do much on that power play, though. Couple of nice saves. Redler pokes it through, but there were no Beacons at the front of the goal mouth, and then Redler, the turnaround shot that whipped wide. Back up top they went. This is the Bryant shot that ends up on the top of the cage. It was deflected in front. Moving along, this puck will end up being stopped originally by Leger, and then Sanapass deflects it and just bounces through, finally picked up by Smith in a clearance. Another example where the Beacons got a decent look coming in tight. This is the goal, actually. Gallagher able to pinch, keep it in. Wide open Redler on the backside, and he scores the goal and his 100th career point, and a big celebration from the Winchester Mass native as he makes it 2-0. Right now we're going to take a quick 30-second commercial, and then we'll be back with the third period as UMass Boston looks to win their 6th straight New England Hockey Conference quarterfinal game here at home.
Endurance and speed. Incredible power. This trophy is not given, it must be earned. The NCAA Division III Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field Championships, March 8th and 9th at the Reggie Lewis Center in Boston. Visit ncaa.com/tickets to secure your seats today.
.20 minutes left on the clock. UMass Boston and Southern Maine banging their sticks on their respective benches. The Beacons looking to stay unbeaten here at home against conference foes. 9-0 during the regular season. Won every single game by multiple goals. They lead by 2 entering the third period. Shot from distance off the stick of Tillotson and into the glove there of Leger, who's out for the third period. Beacons sticking with that second line that has started each of the first 2 periods. Redler wins the faceoff back for Chuckrin, who sends a shot high and wide that'll come all the way out of the zone. Albano forced to retreat, and then he chips it up over the boards into the middle of where the UMass Boston lacrosse team is enjoying this contest. The lacrosse team opens their season next Saturday at 1 p.m. at Roger Williams University. It's scary that on February 23rd, the spring season will officially begin in terms of contests. All of the Beacon spring teams have been practicing for well over a month. Beacon's baseball team will open their contest at the end of the month. They play less than 2 weeks from now. The Beacon softball team will play their first game on March 9th, as will the men's tennis team. Beacon's outdoor track team waits till the week after. Zack Bross gets pushed off the puck. It's Fuller with it for Southern Maine. Pass into no man's land, but Beacon misread that, and it's going to be handled there by Withers. Withers pushed off the puck by Albano. Albano spent a week last summer in the Bruins development camp and has had another extremely successful season, one of just 2 returners on the NEHC All-Conference first team, along with Hobart's Jonas Tupel. Bad turnover there. Coming in is Peters, and he's denied. Another nice play by Leger coming out, but that was a very dangerous pass from Southern Maine's Oscar Bergstrom, and Chris Peters nearly took advantage of the miscue. Minute 15 gone by in period number 3. Beacons will send the top unit out there. Nakbar in the faceoff dot against Connor Ferreira. Pair of West Coast guys as the faceoff was won over to Sanapass, but he lost it as he was looking to get a shot off. UMass Boston wins it back. Nakbar has it tipped away, picked up by Gardner. Puck will head into the zone. Regnart, the first player there. It's crazy how many players on 2 state schools are from the West Coast or from Canada or from the middle of the country. Hockey at the Division III level is really the one sport where you see recruiting from all over the country and internationally. Southern Maine has a big international player to their roster with quite a few Canadians. The Beacons pretty much recruit all over the country, and that's in large part because Corey Schneider and some of the other Beacons assistants spent a lot of weeks and weekends away from home. Southern Maine a chance to get out of the zone. It's Gardner. Got a stoppage, and the net is off its moorings. 17:52 to go in the third period. Let's bring you our trivia question of the day. Now, this is going to be a little bit less fun without Matt Meisenbacher to stump, but UMass Boston scored 5 power play goals last Saturday against Babson. When was the last time they scored more than 5 power play goals in one game? If you have an idea, tweet at us at UMass Beacons. That's UMassBeacons on Twitter. UMass Beacons with your idea. The Beacons did not score more than 5 power play goals in a game this season. They did score 5 against Wentworth in their opener. So they've scored 5 power play goals twice this season. But we're looking for the last time they scored more than 5 power play goals. It's controlled there by Matthew, who dishes it off for Padgham. The long stretch pass for Pereira is tipped away. All the way in behind the net, it's Carter there who tries to clear as he's absorbing a hit. Puck just out of the reach of Bryant, who tried to catch it and put it down in all-one motion. Strong stretch pass from Kestenbaum for Padgham, who gets upended. 17:20 to go. UMass Boston looking to stretch their lead even further. Off the boards, Roviak tried to pick it up, lost it, but able to tip it over for Bryant. Bryant trying to get it right back from Roviak. 4 Huskies in the vicinity. Bryant the shot. And another save from Leger. The Beacons, 2 freshmen able to create a lot of pressure on 4 Huskies and the netminder. Paul Leger in his first career start against UMass Boston. In the opener this season, Ed Harding used Anthony DeLozio. Back in January, they started Peter Ciccarelli. Both goalies gave up 4 or more goals on 30-plus saves. And Leger has already made 29 saves on 31 shots coming into this one. Handled by McGregor, only has 1 player ahead of him. McGregor gains the zone, but nowhere past that as Tillotson kicked it away and then able to dish it across for Smith. Both teams sending their 4th lines out there. This is a rarity. Typically 4th lines have gone up against the top lines in this game, but both teams in the midst of their rotation. Riley over for Albano, who listed as a defenseman, but he's one of the better offensive players on either side. Tillotson looking for an option right to the stick of Smith, and Southern Maine will get a change. Huskies sending that top line out there. Be interesting to see if and when Ed Harding just elects to double shift that group, as Chucker in a beautiful move to spin around the forechecking Withers and create a little bit of space. Redler trying to dish it off for Nickin, broken up, and here comes Withers. Withers had Green to his left, looked for Merrill on the far side. It's broken up. Nickin with speed already has 1 goal in this one. Loses the puck as he charges to the net, and he's somehow able to keep it at his feet. Puck is knocked out towards the blue line, kept alive by Regnart. Huskies have a chance to clear and do so. Withers was trying to get the turn on Gallagher, who will spin and get it out of the zone. Kestenbaum plays catch with Padgham, and it's tipped into the zone by Withers. Adam Withers out of Kenora, Ontario. A former trading post up in northern Canada that up until 1905 was named Rat Portage. One of the more interesting facts I found on Wikipedia about some of the hometowns of Southern Maine. But not because of the rats you're thinking of, it was because of muskrats. Took the name Rat Portage from what the Native Americans called it, although the Native American name had about 5 more words involved. Southern Maine controlling with Sanderson. Sanderson is offside and we'll get a stoppage. Going to get a face-off coming just outside the zone as Sanapass and Matthew have some words for each other. Sanapass, even when there's trash talking going on, he still sports a broad smile. Senior out of Northbrook, Illinois, having a very successful senior season. Lost his entire sophomore campaign due to an injury after the first game of the season in practice. Came back as a junior, didn't put up big numbers, but as a senior, 17 points on 8 goals and 9 assists. MacBurnie wins the faceoff over to Sanipass, but he couldn't find it. Knocks the player off the puck, and Carter collects. Carter's one of the 10 seniors on this group and one of 5 senior defensemen in the lineup today. MacBurnie, the attempted shot goes right off of a Husky. Beacons had 31 shots on goal through the first 2 periods. I'd love to know how many block shots the Huskies have recorded, because UMass Boston has sent quite a bit of rubber right into Huskies. Carter needs a passing option, has Sanipass. Instead, he'll just skate it out, splits the double team, and now Carter leads the rush. Hudson Mass native finds Peters, who tries to split a second double team as the Beacons are trying to skate through the Huskies rather than pass through them. Puck is loose. Great diving effort from Kite, and that'll come out of the zone. Albano with it, lots of traffic in front, tried to flip it through and able to find Skinner, who whiffs on an attempted dump. Now the puck comes out the other way. With speed, it's Tomaszek, the assistant captain, forces a kick save from MacBurnie and gets the rebound behind the net. Down to 13:33 to go. Southern Maine has kept the Beacons from getting too many good chances, but they haven't created too many good chances of their own. And their season potentially has just 13 minutes and 30 seconds left. Chukrin will dump it in behind the net, giving chase to Skinner, leaving it for Robiak, and backdoor. Bryant wide open, and he can't get anything on the shot. That was nearly a third, and really good work from that freshman line. Skinner finds Robiak, shot from the circle is knocked down by Padgham. Robiak gets his rebound, tries to leave it off for Skinner. Rebound comes out for Chukrin, and the shoulder save from Leger. Beacon got hit right up in the face. It was an obvious reaction from Skinner, but no call. Skinner also lost his glove back in front of the net, so a great shift from the third line, but they're unable to add a key third goal. Fourth line out there for UMass Boston. Keene couldn't quite find the puck, but able to continue fighting for it. Now the Beacons have a chance for a 3-on-2. Here comes McGregor leading the rush. Quick shot in and out of the glove of Leger, and he covers up just next to that lost glove of Jeffrey Skinner. 12:30 to play. UMass Boston holding on to a 2-0 advantage. Bailey MacBurnie has not allowed a goal to Southern Maine in the last 5+ periods. The last time these two teams played, UMass Boston shut out Southern Maine 4-0. MacBurnie made 25 saves in that one. Made 14 saves through 2 periods. Now the Beacons' third-team all-conference goalie is 12-15 away, perhaps, from recording his first postseason shutout. I'm allowed to say that because there's no Matt Meisenbacher on the call, and typically at this point in the third period, he would be cursing me off air if I use the S word, but we'll use it at this point. Bono sends a shot through traffic, got there, but it was kicked away by Delosio, rather by Leger. And there's a quick shot from Bross that goes well over the bar. Shot from Carter knocked down. Nicken will keep it alive. Nicken goes off the back of a Beacon. Long stretch pass broken up nicely by Carter as Sanderson was in all alone. Now it's Bross from the slot. Bross leaving it off for Redler already with 1 goal. Quick shot, and that goes off the chest right along the USM logo. Bross trying to hold off a pair of players. 3 Huskies following him around. He gets around a second player, and now it's finally broken up. Good work from Adam Withers. Puck bounces over the stick there of MacBurnie, but another minute has gone by, and MacBurnie hasn't been forced to make a save. He's really had to do very little here in the third. That's not to say Southern Maine won't mount a challenge, but the Beacons have kept the Huskies quiet thus far. That one was whiffed on by Withers, and the Beacons catch a break as that puck will come down for an icing. Withers was there in time, just didn't get anything on it. Top line out there for UMass Boston, but it'll be Peters to take the face off from the near dot. Peters able to win it through backdoor feed, looking for Nakbar. Second time the Beacons have had a player wide open with the goalie out of position, but unable to get anything on that was Nakbar. Kept alive by Peters, who's tangled up there with the opposing number 23 Maverick Lines. Peters still with it, centering feed, and Nakbar right into the body of Leger. UMass Boston is really buzzing. They had 2 great looks on that shift alone, but have yet to score that all-important third goal. At 2-0, you feel okay. At 3-0, you feel great, and we'll take a look at that last chance. See Peters just having his will with the Huskies defense. A lot of space, and then in front, Nakbar unable to get a lot on it. That's tough as a lefty shooter. If you're a righty, you can get a quicker shot off, but Nakbar had to try to clear positioning a little bit and couldn't quite get off a great look. Southern Maine into the zone. A pair of Beacons hit each other. It was Sanapass going into the back of Gallagher. Both players were trying to slow down Adam Papianu. Regnar from below his own goal line. Over for Gallagher and ahead for Peters, who got no piece of that. That should be an icing, and it will be. So the Beacons will have to stay in their own zone with just about 10 minutes gone by in period number 3. Tillotson versus Nakbar. Southern Maine sticking with the 4th line for this offensive zone draw. Puck is bounced around, no real clear winner, and Sanapass just uses his body to knock the puck out of the zone. Here comes Peters, who's been out there for a while. He'll dump it in. The Beacons will get 3 new skaters. It's the 3rd line, the freshman unit out there for UMass Boston. Tomaszek couldn't handle that pass. Now Bono hard off the boards for Roviak. Was able to slow it down, but it's stolen away by Merrill. Merrill for his defensive partner, Matt Fuller, the freshman out of Mirror Lake, New Hampshire. Fuller with speed, able to gain the zone. Nice little rush from Fuller. Who's listed as the 7th defenseman, but he's getting regular shifts for Ed Harding in his group. The Beacons go with the extra forward. Southern Maine, the extra defenseman. 2v2 chance. Skinner with it. Skinner tries to leave it off for Roviak. Slowed down. Roviak got a piece, but couldn't hang on. Skinner backhand feed looking for Roviak. That group has had success with that exact play. Bryant for Skinner all the way through for Roviak. Slows it down and leaves it off for Carter. To the point it's Bono already has an assist and another glove save for Leger. But I can't have a conversation with someone right now. I would say the last 4 or 5 minutes going in a similar pattern. UMass Boston will create chances, force a save, force an offensive zone draw. Southern Maine, when they do get it into the zone, they're not creating any kind of sustained zone time. Very sporadic chances. I can't think of one great chance here in the 3rd period, whereas they had a couple decent looks in both the 1st and 2nd. Their best look of the day coming from Adam Withers, who pinged the crossbar midway through the 2nd period when the game was still 1-0. Albano will dump it in and hang out at the blue line as he allows the Beacons' 4th line forwards provide a little bit of forecheck pressure. Sanderson all the way across for Padgham. Long stretch pass right on the tape of Sanderson. Senior out of Bangor, Maine has his shot deflected wide. Chasing that one is Gardner. To his knees was Dakota Keene, the Beacons' lone player out of Maine. Keene, a junior out of Poland, Maine. Puck sent out of the zone, slowed down and handled there by Parker Sanderson, one of 3 Southern Maine players who are potentially playing in their final collegiate game. Southern Maine with 3 seniors, the Beacons with 10. Under 8.5 to play. Handled there by Withers. Top line out there for Southern Maine as he chips it off his own player, Braga. Braga picks the puck up in the neutral zone, has tremendous hands. Junior out of Middleborough, Massachusetts, who had the game-winning goal last year here in Boston. Braga, quick shot, glove save from MacBurnie, and then Braga charges, and there's some pushing and shoving between Braga and Albano. Let's remind you of our trivia question of the day. Beacons scored 5 power play goals last Saturday against Babson. When was the last time the Beacons scored more than 5 power play goals? We'll get you that answer at the next stoppage. Albano's going to go. Braga sent over to the bench, but he should go as well. That was pretty obviously 2 guilty parties in the pushing and shoving. And there's even some more jawing between Albano and Braga. I don't think there's a lot of love lost between those two. Both penalties are for 2 minutes up on the board. The Beacons have 5 out there. Southern Maine has 4. That's the only question. Are they skating 4-on-4 or 5-on-5? Albano thought he was going to the box, and he's either going to the bench or he's going to the locker room. And Nick Albano will head back on the bench. And no further. So that's good news for UMass Boston. The 2 minutes is still up on the Southern Maine side, and now that comes off. I don't know why there weren't penalties there, because it looked pretty evidently that there was a lot of pushing and shoving after the whistle. If referees want to take control of the game, that's a pretty easy, all right, you both need to calm down, spend 2 minutes in the box, but referees electing to keep both guys out there for their teams, although they both will take a seat. Here's Braga, who came back out after that, and his shot is tipped up into the netting. As much as UMass Boston doesn't want to lose Nick Albano, forcing Southern Maine to lose Cody Braga for 2 minutes up by 2 goals with 8 minutes left might have been worth it. Either way, the referees allowed both to stay on. Braga stays on with the top unit. Albano and Chukrin currently sitting. The defensive pairing is Regnart and Gallagher. Beacon's top line versus Southern Maine's top line, and Peters comes away with it. Peters has Gallagher looking to go on the rush. Broken up, and now a 2-on-2 chance. Braga centering feed, but Withers was well behind the play. Nakbar tries to wrap it around, catches the skates of the referee. That's a break for Southern Maine. Shot from the point, whistled wide there by Brock Padgham. Another shot goes well wide, this time from Braga. Down low, Green is the first one to it, trying to avoid the punishing hit of Gallagher. Now it's Withers fighting off the Beacon senior defenseman. Gets a shot off, but another glove save from MacBurnie. 7:22 to go. And we'll bring you our trivia answer of the day. You have to go all the way back to the 2014 opening day. UMass Boston scored 7 power play goals on November 1st, 2014 in a 15-3 win over UMass Dartmouth. It's an easy save there for MacBurnie, who's been seeing the puck extremely well. He's seen it well all season long. The NCAA record for power play goals at the Division III level is 8 in a game. UMass Boston has scored 7. Redler wins the face-off, back for Bono. Bono looking for options, finds the skate there of Bross. Flex over towards Nickham, and a nice play by a Southern Maine defenseman to clear the zone, and the Beacons have to touch up on a delayed offside. Fuller with it with 7:05 to go. Southern Maine got into the NEHC tournament with a big 8-4 win last Friday against Castleton, trying to avoid putting together all that hard work in a comeback victory, and then seeing their season end 60 minutes into the postseason. But right now, they are still struggling to score. Remember, their last 7 playoff games, they've been outscored 30-2. They have not scored in any of their last 6, and that doesn't include tonight's game, in which we're almost at the 55-minute mark. Clean face-off win by Bryant working against Withers, and now we're starting to see a lot more of that top line for Southern Maine, the scoring line. That group has been out there a lot the last 2 to 3 minutes. Coming in with speed is Adam Pompiano, as the second line gets a little bit of a shift, but the shot is tipped up into the netting by Gabe Chukrin. It's been a clean third period, no penalties. Really a pretty clean game overall between two teams that have, at times, especially in this building, gotten a little chippy. Tillotson versus Bryant. Tillotson a clean win all the way back for Bergstrom, and another glove save from MacBurnie, who has to go into a full split. Oscar Bergstrom, the freshman of Stockholm, Sweden, still looking for his first career goal. Did have 2 assists last Friday against Castleton. Faceoff will come to the near side this time, and the Beacons will send out that second line. Bross in the dot against Tillotson. Bross wins it cleanly. Remember, 11 of 14 in the faceoff dot the first 2 periods, and a pair of assists. Stretch pass from Redler finds Nicken, who has scored the first goal. Bross came in behind after the puck was tipped away. Bross trying to fight off Tomaszek. Nikin comes away with it, leaves it off for Regnart to the near side for Albano. Has Redler in front. Rebound comes loose off the Albano shot. A couple Beacons are there. And Tillotson able to collect the loose puck and lead the charge the other way. Tillotson, the freshman out of Bow, New Hampshire, gains the zone, but not much more. So Albano is there looking for Nikin, who a little bit nonchalantly tries to clear the zone and eventually finds Regnart, who will dump and wait in the neutral zone for reinforcements. Long stretch pass right onto the tape of Braga, but he couldn't hold on. Here comes Bryant back into the zone. This third line has looked really good in the third period, and he almost found Roviak in the low slot. Shot from distance. Green has no chance to beat MacBurnie from there, and the freshman out of Baie-D'Urfé, Quebec, just shakes his head. So his team has not been able to get anything going offensively today against Bailey MacBurnie. Withers versus McGregor. Beacons will send that fourth line out to counter Southern Maine's top line. This fourth line has three really good defensive players. Keene, McGregor, and Riley. Not just good defensively, so speedy and very, very skilled. Puck goes all the way by a pair of players. Beacons break it up. McGregor to the tape of Riley. Riley, though, can't hang on, and Bono just wisely will dump it in on Leger, and the Beacons will touch up. Keene trying to cut down on the angle. Pass finds Kaidu, looks to dump it in. That's an obvious icing, and it will be. 5 minutes exactly to go in this contest. So I mentioned the possible shutout with about 12 minutes left. I haven't said anything about it till this mark. If Bailey MacBurnie can pull it off, he'll set the program record for career shutouts today with this 6. So 5 minutes away. That, if nothing else, if Southern Maine doesn't create a lot, we're in the final 30 seconds. That's the mark to watch. Can Bailey MacBurnie potentially make history today? He's already tied UMass Boston great Billy Faust, who was the Beacons goaltender on their run to the Frozen Four back in 2016. He tied him earlier this season in a 1-0 win over Castleton. Can he set the program mark today? Beacons have already seen one player reach 100 career points. Can they see a program record fall as well? Puck flipped up into the rafters and into the stands, actually nearly hit a Southern Maine scratch, who is heading over towards the locker room, and it'll go back into the zone. That attempted clearance from Fuller, not online. Peters versus Withers, pair of freshmen in the face-off dot. Withers wins it over for Fuller, and again, Fuller a little bit off on his line as he flipped that one up into the netting, although they are going to say that one caught the stick of the Beacon. Looked like he was trying to play it off the boards and maybe put a bit too much behind it, but the referees give him the benefit of the doubt. Nakbar versus Ferreira this time. Ferreira the clean win. Padgham in his own zone, tries to get around a pair of Beacons, able to battle his way around Peters. Ferreira, the senior out of Manhattan Beach, California, battling with Chukrin, and now Bono comes away with it for the Beacons. Under 4.5 to play in what's been a scoreless third period. The Beacons with one goal in each of the first two. Albano stripped the puck there by Padgham, who turns, flips, and that'll be another icing. Southern Maine has had 3, maybe 4 icings in this period. I don't know if they've scored, I don't know if they have as many shots in the period as they have icing. Be an interesting stat. Southern Maine has really struggled. They do have a couple of shots in that one sequence of glove saves, but they just don't seem to be on the same page right now. Beacons able to collect the puck in the zone, just trying to kill some clock here. A third goal would be great. If nothing else, just want to keep Southern Maine out of their zone. An easy save for Lizet there on the look from Gallagher. Remember to stick around on our Beacons Broadcast Network post-game show. We'll have highlights from the third period, interviews with Peter Belisle, and if the Beacons win, our number 1 star, along with a look around the rest of the conference and the final statistics. We have seen quite a few goals in the other games in the third periods, and none of those goals really go in the Beacons' way. Right now it looks like there will be chalk, although there still is 2 minutes left at Babson, with the Beavers leading Skidmore 2-1. Babson has scored both of their goals in the third. Norwich just defeated Suffolk 1-0 in what was a very tight 2-7 matchup, and Hobart took care of New England College 4-1. So it looks like each of the top 4 seeds will advance, which means UMass Boston will have to face defending champion Hobart next weekend, but that's if they can hold on for the final 320. Bryant in his own zone for Bono. Beacons have been very crisp defensively here in the third. Kestenbaum with pressure coming from a pair of Beacons. UMass Boston wins it. It's Bryant who goes down to a knee, struggling with the bouncing puck. Roviak, really good strength from this freshman. Able to find Skinner, was looking for the tight wraparound. Withers over for Lines. Lines doesn't have any goals this year, but 10 assists. That was a pretty good-looking shot for the defenseman off the top of the MacBurnie's glove and up into the netting to force an offensive zone draw. Southern Maine certainly is not giving up on their season. They'll send that top unit out. The question is, when does Ed Harding pull the goalie? 2:46 left potentially in their season, down 2-0. Got to think about it. And it might be right now. Southern Maine will use their timeout. Coming over to the bench is Paul Leger, and be interesting to see if he heads back to the net with 2:46 to play, an offensive zone draw. How many more of those will Southern Maine get? Get a good look of Peter Belisle there, giving out instructions to his group. You see Nick Albano asking a question, Corey Schneider, and Tom Murphy, the Beacons' second assistant there as well. Murphy, the longest tenured UMass Boston assistant under Peter Belisle. And you just see the animated Peter Belisle there. Peter Belisle comes from a great coaching tree. Belisle is extremely famous in the state of Rhode Island. His father coached his last career home game last night at Mount St. Charles. Pete's father, Bill Belisle, a USA Hockey Hall of Famer, has been at Mount St. Charles for well over 4 decades and coached his last home game last night. As Sanapass sends a shot off the faceoff, misses it, but Sanapass is going to get the rebound and score. Garrison Sanapass pots the empty netter, and UMass Boston makes it 3-0, win the faceoff, and Sanapass won the foot race after setting the shot wide. Garrison Sanapass' 5th career goal against Southern Maine, and that should just about do it as the Beacons tap on a very important insurance goal. For Sanapass' 9th goal on the year. And that's a tough break for Ed Harding and the Huskies. You have a play drawn up, you're looking to create, and all of a sudden, you see it there, the Beacons win the faceoff. That looks like Nakbar. And then Sanapass, the long shot, as we're back to live action, but Southern Maine behind their own net, not really able to create much right now. Keene will flip it in as Lizet has had to return to his own net. Husky lost an edge, and Riley almost able to pick it up, but he overskated the puck. Regnart will flip it in over the head of the goalie. Down to 2:06 to go, and now with that third goal, folks, big question is, can the Beacons get the shutout? Can Bailey MacBurnie set the program record for career shutouts tonight on a night where Nolan Redler has already become the 17th player in program history with 100 career points? This could be a very big night for a pair of Massachusetts natives as Skinner is denied on the nice glove save from Lizet. Third line will stay out there for UMass Boston against the 4th for Southern Maine. Bryant wins it back for Roviak. Nice fake, and the high shot goes over the glove of Leger. A really nice look from Roviak, who moved up to the third line today with Tyler Sifferlin out of the lineup. He's played extremely well. Robiak's the guy who's played on the first line, the second, the third, and the fourth. He's even been the extra skater this season, and honestly has not looked overmatched in any of those roles. Southern Maine caught the stretch pass in the neutral zone. Matthew tried to go back to a teammate, and there was no one there. That Babson game has gone final, so UMass Boston will host Hobart next Saturday if they can hold on for another 65 seconds. Braga all the way around the net, still with speed, trying to keep it in. He'll send it down low. Tillotson's the first player there. Leger is still in the net, so Southern Maine will not pull the goalie for an extra attacker a second time. Down to 46 seconds left. Braga chips it over to the boards, takes a big hit, although it was really more running through Carter. And then a glove save from MacBurnie on the effort from Lines. .4 seconds to go, and these 37.4 seconds, very nerve-wracking for Bailey MacBurnie and the Beacons defense. They desperately want this shutout. MacBurnie has already tied the program record with 3 shutouts in a single season, looking for his 4th of the year and 6th in his career. Both would be program marks. Keene trying to get the turn. It's over for Bono. Chance in front, and the shot goes just wide off the stick of Ferreira with 25 left. Shot from Padgham well wide, looking for a tip. Working with it is Sanderson. Sanderson up top for Padgham. Padgham near side has Merrill. Merrill in front, kicked away, and the Beacons have a chance to clear with 10 seconds left. It's Riley with it. Riley has McGregor, finds him in tight, shoots and scores! The Beacons add an extra just in case, and UMass Boston makes it 4-0 with 5.9 left. A beautiful goal from the Beacons' 4th liners as David McGregor scores a goal on his 100th career game, and that is a fitting finish to what has been a pretty dominating display by the top-seeded UMass Boston Beacons. See Riley here, the defenseman forced to pinch over. McGregor catches and just floats it over Leger's left shoulder to give the Beacons a 4-0 advantage with 5.9 ticks left. And you can hear the Beacons bench celebrating. UMass Boston 6-0 now all time as a number 1 seed. 6 straight quarterfinal wins here at home. The Beacons will look to add to their win total next week when they host Hobart. But first, we'll wrap up today's game on the Beacons Broadcast Network post-game show. A dominating display. UMass Boston with 2 goals in the final 3 minutes to stretch their lead to 4. But after that shot from Withers caught the crossbar in the middle of the second period, and the Beacons were able to kill off a 5-on-3. This game was never in doubt in the third as Southern Maine struggled to create chances against the second best scoring defense in the NEHC. I'd like to take a moment to recognize the 3 seniors on Southern Maine's team who just played their final collegiate game. Senior captain Tyler Matthew out of Stillwater Lake, Nova Scotia, a 3-year captain, just the 4th in the program's history. He wraps up his career with a pretty strong season, 9 goals, 5 assists, and 14 points. Today's contest marked his 92nd career game. Connor Ferreira, senior forward out of Manhattan Beach, California. This was his 85th career game. Wraps up his senior season playing every single game, 26 contests, 2 goals, and 2 assists. The final senior, assistant captain Parker Sanderson, senior forward out of Bangor, Maine, who's also a golfer at the University of Southern Maine. Played in 89 career games, 17 goals, 16 assists. Finished his senior season with 3 goals in 23 contests. We're going to bring you the matchups for next week, the final stats, the highlights of the third period, all after this commercial break, and we'll have an interview with head coach Peter Belisle and one of the Beacon stars as UMass Boston earns a 4-0 victory.
This has been a year of growth for me, but more importantly, a year of growth for the University of Massachusetts. When I originally was elected to the position, I said that this was my dream job. It's an opportunity to lead a great university, a university that has dramatic impact. A lot has happened. It's been an exciting year. We have had record enrollment. We've had record selectivity. The quality of the students attending the University of Massachusetts has never been stronger. In terms of fundraising, when I was inaugurated as a new president, we raised $1.6 million. It's more money that has ever been raised at any public university inauguration in the history of Massachusetts. We've put $20 million more into financial aid so the students will be able to get the financial assistance that they need. We're interacting with business and industry really across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, trying to get an understanding from them of what skills they're looking for in terms of who they want to hire to make sure the University of Massachusetts are addressing those needs. I feel energy. I feel that people recognize the fact that we're headed in the right direction and they want to be part of it too. I've had so many parents come up to me and talk about their son or daughter. And I remember talking to a parent who had immigrated from Cambodia, and literally tears in his eyes as his daughter is graduating. Those stories are just over and over and over through all of our 5 campuses. There's an indisputable momentum that the University of Massachusetts has right now. All you have to do is visit the campuses and see the quality of the students, the quality of the faculty, and see the enthusiasm. We've made an awful lot of progress, but I can tell you after 1 year, I think of what Dr. King said about a sense of urgency, and that sense of urgency is now. I'm committed to making sure that we keep this momentum going. I'm committed to fighting for the University of Massachusetts in every way that I can, with every fiber that I can, so that we can get to where we want to be, which is the best public university in America. Now is our time. UMass literally can change the world.
You tell me it gets better in time. You say I pull myself together.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
It's on us to act as a family and protect one another.
Not hurt one another. It's on us to trust our instincts and be direct.
To talk openly and honestly about sexual assault.
It's on us.
To not be a bystander. If you see something, say something.
And to intervene in any way that you can.
It's on us.
If someone does not or cannot consent to sex, that is rape.
Consent is voluntary and mutual. It can be withdrawn at any time.
And past consent does not mean current or future consent.
There is no consent when there is force, intimidation, or coercion. 1 out of every 16 male college students are raped.
And 1 out of every 5 female college students.
Which one of us?
And which one of us?
One thing that we all need to remember is
to never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stop it at the source.
And to spread the word.
So take the pledge and get involved.
The pledge is a personal commitment to help keep men and women safe from sexual assault.
It is a promise not to be a bystander to the problem,
but to be a part of the solution.
It's on us. It's on us.
It's on us.
UMass Boston, a 4-0 winner over the University of Southern Maine, who's still looking for that first all-time goal in the NEHC tournament. Now 0-4, they've been outscored 19-0 the last 4 seasons. Let's take a look at the scoring summary. It was 2-0 going into the last 5 minutes before the Beacons able to get an empty netter from Garrison Sanapass at 17-22. Then a nice 2-on-1 goal as Jack Riley fed David McGregor to score with 5.9 seconds left in the game. The Beacons with 2 of their 4 goals scored by seniors, 4 different players scoring, including 2 goals from that top line as Ethan Nicken scored in the first period, Nolan Redler in the second period before a 2-goal run late in the third made this game look a little bit more like a laugher than it actually was. While we've got a moment, let's take a look at the final statistics. UMass Boston dominated the first 2, and the third was pretty equally dominant, outshooting Southern Maine 16-8, 47-22 for the contest. UMass Boston finishes the year 3-0 versus Southern Maine. In those 3 games, they outshot Southern Maine 128-62. So it's very difficult to score goals when you're not getting a lot of shots. And the Beacons held Southern Maine to just 2 goals on 62 shots while scoring 14 of their own. UMass Boston with 22 saves from Bailey MacBurnie, who made 47 saves in the last 2 games against the Huskies to earn a pair of shutouts. Today he set the program record with his 6th for his career. 43 saves from Paul Leger, who I thought played extremely well. 43 saves on 46 shots. He finished the season really strong, and it'll be interesting to see if he's the number 1 to start next year. Be a really nice goalie battle in preseason with Anthony Delozio, who was the starter last year in the 1A this season. Final power plays, Southern Maine 0 for 4, UMass Boston 0 for 4, including the Beacons killing off a 5-on-3. Let's take a moment to look at our 3 stars. It was a little bit difficult to pick the number 1. Nolan Redler, his 100th point, gave the Beacons a 2-0 lead. Bailey MacBurnie, 22 saves to earn the program record for career shutouts. Little bit of program history there. And then Zack Bross with 2 assists. He's had 6 in his last 2 games. The St. Louis, Missouri native has been coming on really strong and now has 15 on the season and 48 career assists in 51 games. So almost an assist a game, well over a point per game for his career. Let's take a look around the rest of the conference. It was chalk tonight, so we're going to see some really good battles next weekend. Remember, 5 teams in the top 15 of the pairwise going into today. Next weekend, after Norwich scored in the third period, Babson scored 2 goals in the third to erase a 2-1 deficit. It'll be UMass Boston, the 6th-ranked team in the pairwise, playing the 7th-ranked team in the pairwise, Hobart, who has won 4 straight conference tournaments. The Hobart won each of the last 3 ECAC West titles before coming over last season and winning as the 2 seed over Norwich with 3 goals in the third period. So that one will be a showdown. And then up at Kreitzberg Arena, Norwich, who's ranked 4th in the pairwise, will face Babson, who's ranked 12th. So 4 of the top 12 teams, at least going into tonight, will be facing off next week in the NEHC semifinals. This is the deepest conference in the entire country, and hopefully at least 2 teams will have a chance to make it into the tournament in a couple of weeks, as UMass Boston right now looking to win the AQ. They've been very difficult to beat at home, but they easily could be joined by one of Norwich, Hobart, even Babson, depending on how the next 2 weeks go. While we've got a moment, let's take a look ahead for UMass Boston. We have an official team, but I don't think we had a chance to update our looking ahead, but I can fill that in for you. UMass Boston picked up the win. The Top City Beacons will host number 4 Hobart College next Saturday at 7 p.m. Do this thing all over again. Should be a slightly higher scoring game. Hobart and UMass Boston met just 2 weekends ago. The Beacons and Statesmen skating to a 3-3 tie after Hobart scored with 6 seconds remaining up at the cooler to earn a tie in that one and to keep the Beacons from wrapping up the regular season title a weekend early. Well, we've got a moment. Still waiting on our interviews. Let's take a look around the rest of Beaconville. UMass Boston track and field competed up at Plymouth State in the LEC championships. The women's basketball team, they're at home on Tuesday night in the LEC quarterfinals. That'll be a 5:30 game. The Beacons will have to host the Rhode Island College team that beat them today. Those 2 teams split the regular season. Fourth quarter runs either way. The difference is UMass Boston used a big fourth quarter at home. Rhode Island College a big fourth quarter today down in Providence. Men's basketball wraps up the regular season on a 2-game winning streak. Big 80-64 win over the Anchor Men. Men's basketball team, the 5th seed in the LEC tournament. They'll head to 4-seeded Western Connecticut State on Tuesday. And women's hockey closing in on potentially an upset win in the NEHC tournament. They're up 2-1, 2 first-period goals from Kelsey Ryan. And right now, Katie Flagg, the junior transfer, holding strong in net, trying to hand the Rams an upset loss. We're going to take a 30-second break, and then we'll be back with Peter Belisle, the Beacons head coach, after a 4-0 victory.
Endurance and speed. Incredible power. This trophy is not given, it must be earned. The NCAA Division III Men's and Women's Indoor Track and Field Championships, March 8th and 9th at the Reggie Lewis Center in Boston. Visit ncaa.com/tickets to secure your seats today.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
Joined by head coach Peter Belisle on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Coach, on paper, you had a big advantage on this team, but Southern Maine is always so pesky, and they were able to keep you guys down until the last 5 minutes. It was a 2-0 game. How proud were you with the fact that you guys, the exception of taking those penalties on your own power plays, did a pretty good job of staying out of the box, not getting into that tit-for-tat game, and keeping this game at 5-for-5 where you really seem to have an advantage?
No, I agree. Very proud of the guys. I mean, they play very hard, very physical. So it can get frustrating, but I thought for the most part our guys did a really good job keeping our cool, and we had to, you know what I mean? So that was proud of the guys for that, for sure.
Couple guys with a little bit of history today. First off, Nolan Redler, 99 points after last week because of a 6-point day. Today you only got the 1, but it was obviously a big one to give you guys a 2-0 lead. How big is it for a player like Nolan to be doing this? Obviously, you've had those big names, those big D1 transfers. Colin Larkin, the older brother of an NHL player, and now to have a guy who maybe doesn't have that same pedigree, but who has been just as consistent for you guys in keeping this top scoring unit towards the top of the conference.
No, I mean he scored at every level. It's a heck of an accomplishment. And I mean, you look at the guys there. There's not too many of them on the board, and when you could do it in your junior year, I think I've only coached 2 of them, and that would be
3 now.
Well, Peter McIntyre and Colin Larkin to do it in their junior year.
True.
Okay, we had Travis Daniel and Eric Tuffman, and then obviously all the guys that came before us. But to do it in your junior year, that's pretty special. So very proud of him, and he's doing it with a couple new line mates, a new freshman, and Bross in the center. We've found a nice line, which is good, and he had a big one tonight, and Nitty did too.
The other junior who made some history, Bailey MacBurnie, sets the program record for career shutouts. Didn't face the puck a lot today, just 22 saves. But again, he makes a couple of those big ones look a little bit easier than maybe they should have been, and he just has seemed to be so consistent.
Oh, I mean, that's a tough game for him, too. I thought we controlled the play, but when they come down and there's a flurry, you know what I mean, and he's going to be laser-focused, and he is, and he was tonight, and that's what we need out of him. He's been rock solid. He was tremendous again tonight.
Finally, your fourth line, you had to shift it up. Jack Riley back in the lineup for the first time since January. Picks up an assist there late. How big is it to get Riley going a little bit, to keep getting guys moving? Because that second line today, scored the first 2. They had 5 last week, but you obviously are going to need a little bit of secondary scoring. You got that tonight.
Yeah, every kid on our team is so important to us. And, Riles is out of the lineup, finds himself out. Siflin goes down with an injury. He's called upon, and he performed well tonight. And, that's a credit to the kid who just keeps working, stays with it, stays positive for his team, which is not easy to do when you're out of the lineup, but he gets rewarded for it. And it's just, I'm proud of him, too.
Finally, chalking around the rest of the conference, which means number 6 in the pairwise going into tonight, hosts number 7. You guys have Hobart. They've won 4 straight conference tournaments. What do you need to do next week to beat a Statesman team that we saw in November? You guys faced 2 weekends ago. Very talented and very difficult to beat in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're a good hockey team. We had a heck of a game with them up there when we tied them 3-3. And we had a heck of a game over here. So we got our work cut out for us. It's playoff hockey, so that's going to be a heck of a contest. Well, I'm going to enjoy this one. Let me enjoy this one for a little bit.
I was about to say, enjoy this one tonight. Get some sleep, because I don't know how much you'll be getting this week preparing for the Statesman, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Take a commercial break and be back with our number 1 star in just a moment.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there is a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
Joined by UMass Boston junior forward Nolan Redler. Nolan, it's been a really good 7 days and a couple hours for you. First, let's go back to last week against Babson. You really set the tone in that game before the game even started. You came out strong to the blue line in announcements, and then you backed it up with 4 goals and 2 assists. What did that goal not just do for your confidence, but do for your line's confidence going into this week in the playoffs? Anytime that you can do that against a team like Babson, who's not used to giving up 2 goals, it's got to give you guys a little bit of extra oomph.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, we've always been working hard, and even when we lost 3-0 the night before, it felt like our effort was good, and we had a lot of chances, just a little puck luck wasn't going our way. So definitely last Saturday was good to get the mojo back, and, me, Nitty, and Bross really clicking, and it's good to have that going into the playoffs.
Thursday, you're named the NEHC Co-Player of the Year, just the 2nd player in program history to win Conference Player of the Year in any of the conferences UMass Boston has played in. What did that mean for you personally to be honored in that way?
It was huge. It's a good honor, and obviously my line mate last year, Larks, won it the previous 2 years. Anytime your name's thrown in there with his, it's a pretty big honor, but, we didn't come here to win individual awards, came here to win championships, so.
Last week, I talked to you after the game, and you were asking, did I get that 7th point? Did I get the 100th? Yeah. Your first shift of the game, you got a good look, and I knew you were trying to get it out of the way early. Yeah. What went through that play, and then how relieved were you when you got that 2nd goal, not just for your team, but also to get that 100th point and maybe put that behind you?
Well, that first shift, I saw the puck square out. I'm like, oh, it's here, it's coming. And I missed that. I missed another one, and I was like, oh, this is not going to be easy. And I didn't want to jinx it, so I kept telling everyone to shut up, stop talking about it. And sure enough, one popped loose, and I was lucky enough to be there to grab up the rebound.
What does it mean, 100 points in your junior season? Coach just talked about it. There's not many guys who reach the mark, period, just the 17th, and to do it in 3 seasons. When you can reflect on it a little bit right now, what does that mean for you personally to have that much success?
Like I said, it's a really good honor, and to know your name's going up on that banner with a bunch of good players, it's great. But like I said, you didn't come here to do individual awards, came here to win championships, so.
Well, for a guy who doesn't like doing interviews, this was a really fun one. Thanks for your time. Maybe we'll see you later on in the postseason. I'd also like
to throw in, I have a little brother who plays hockey at Maine.
So
it's club, but.
The pedigree comment was in no way meant to denigrate you. I know that you were standing right there. We'll take another commercial break, be back with our number 2 star, and then we'll finish it up here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Thank you.
People at UMass Boston, they're here because they know they can have an impact, not just on research, but on people, on their students.
This is just the starting point. It only has potential to grow, and it has a big potential to grow up.
You're really having a direct impact on people's lives, and you can see that now, and you can see that years from now.
So I think it's becoming like the place that people want to go.
What UMass Boston is able to offer to its young people, it certainly stands out to that mission that was set right out in the beginning. It's something UMass Boston should be and can be very proud about.
Joined by UMass Boston junior goalie Bailey MacBurnie. Bailey, the shutout record is yours. 2016, a really good goalie led UMass Boston to the Frozen Four, backstopped the team with a couple shutouts to set the record with 5. You do it in the first game of this postseason. Obviously, you're hoping to have similar success. When you were thinking about that little run during the regular season, did you think about the fact that you could get to the mark this year? No goalie has had 4 shutouts in a single season, and I think you hit that mark today. This was definitely number 3, if not 4.
Yeah, it's always nice to get shutouts, but at the end of the day, I'm always looking for the win. So, but it was, it's definitely nice to be awarded a shutout. It's a team game, and I thought my defenseman in front of me been playing unbelievable.
How difficult was this game? We saw Leger a lot adjusting his pads, trying to slow down the game. On the other side, we saw you adjusting your pads because maybe you hadn't seen the puck in a minute and a half. How do you stay mentally focused when your team is dominating and all of a sudden here comes a 2-on-1 rush with one of their best players getting a good look off?
That's kind of how it's been the theme so far this year and last year and even the year before that, where we're going to outshoot teams, outplay teams, but you just got to remain calm and be ready for that next shot mentality.
Does it help next week going into a Hobart team where the ice should be maybe a little bit less slanted one way? You've seen this team 2 weeks ago. You know how talented they are. That top-end talent might keep you a little bit more involved in the game than tonight where you're not seeing the puck as consistently?
Right, yeah. Hobart has a great team, very skilled, great goaltending. I'm looking forward to the challenge. I think our team is it, but I think we're definitely ready to take that next step.
Speaking of your defense, obviously the goalie gets most of the accolades when it comes to the shutouts. How easy has this group made your season? Obviously you've had to make some really big ones, but playing with this many upperclassmen and some really talented underclassmen and providing maybe a more consistent defensive effort than we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, they allow me to see the first shot. They have confidence that I'll be able to make that first save, and then from there they're clearing everything out. Our coach, our assistant coach, Corey Schneider, has done an excellent job with them. We work defensive drills, getting shots through, blocking shots. Can't say enough about those guys. They're unbelievable.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, Bailey. And another big accolade made by a junior tonight, a pair of them 100 points and the program record for career shutouts. We'll take one last commercial break and wrap it up here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Back to live action. This is a look at our production crew doing a great job today. Gigi Braga, our producer, and our director, Rachel Maslak, on graphics. Alyssa Fugel on instant replay. Kyle Penny, Mary Jo Murphy, Jill Francis, and Grace McGetrick were our camera operators. For myself, Seth Orensky, and our entire crew, thanks for watching. UMass Boston will be right back at it next Saturday when they host 4-seeded Hobart College in the New England Hockey Conference semifinals.